Chapter 985. Ah! At this moment, Yi Mengyao also discovered her current appearance. In an instant, her pretty face suddenly turned red, just like a tomato. This was the first time she had appeared in front of a strange man like this. For the saintess of the elf clan, it was a great humiliation for her pure body to be exposed in front of a strange man. If word got out, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Perhaps all the youths of the elf clan would be furious. Boom! In an instant, she activated the Azure Dharch divine art and condensed her earth energy. Immediately, the green earth energy transformed into a piece of clothing that covered her body, covering the important parts, so that this bastard could no longer see. But even so, she still felt a little cold without any clothes on her body, making her feel as if she was standing in front of a man without any clothes on at all. So it's a girl from the elf clan. Xiaoping looked at the mysterious girl's ears with interest. He immediately knew that it was a characteristic of the elf clan. Moreover, he also realized that this girl was very familiar with someone he knew. It was obviously the little lowly Yi Jejia, and it was an enlarged version. The mature version of Yi Jejia had already grown up, the kind that could eat. You must be Yi Jejia's relative. No wonder I keep feeling like I've seen you somewhere before. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Yi Mengyao. I didn't expect you to have such a hobby, taking off your clothes at the slightest disagreement. Bullshit, who would have such a hobby? Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. Her pretty face was red, and her eyes were filled with murderous intent. If it wasn't for this bastard, she wouldn't have fallen into such a predicament and been taken advantage of by this bastard. She couldn't wait to immediately capture this Wu Wudi and beat him up for 3 days and 3 nights. Don't deny it. Who doesn't have a hobby? Of course, your hobby is a little strange. Xiaoping looked as if he had seen through Yi Mengyao's true colors. But this kind of thing can only be seen by me. Don't let others see it. Otherwise, you'll be a fickle woman. If you were on our planet, you'd be caught and drowned in a pig cage. Shut up. Yi Mengyao couldn't stand this bastard's big mouth any longer. She slapped with her palm, displaying a strong palm force. In the void, a solid palm print appeared with infinite power. Dong! Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He just stood where he was and ran the Dark North body protecting art. He blocked the palm at once and was unscathed. He didn't even move a step. Just now, Yi Mengyao had been hit by his palm, and her strength had been reduced by more than half. She was far from her peak state, so even if he stood still, Yi Mengyao would not be able to hurt him at all. Damn it! Seeing that her palm was useless, Yi Mengyao was very angry, but she also knew that her strength had been reduced a lot, and there was nothing she could do to this shameless person. At the same time, she was also very angry. If she could show her true strength instead of staying in this novice village and being restricted to the level of a grand master, she would have smashed this bastard into countless pieces long ago. It's useless. You're no match for me. Continuing is futile. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. Why don't we stop, have some tea and chat? We can think about the major events of our lives in the future, such as what our children's names will be in the future, and which planet they will live on in the future. He wanted to talk to Yi Mengyao about something important in life. Shut up. Who will have children with you? Don't even think about it. Yi Mengyao's pretty face turned red. This bastard Wu Wudi was really shameless. They had just met, and he already wanted to have children with her. He even wanted to settle on a planet with good education. Even love at first sight would not be so fast. This is not up to you. According to the tradition of our planet, if you see a girl you like, knock her out and drag her back to your cave. Then you can get married. What's done can't be undone. This is recognized by the law of the planet. You'd better come to my side obediently and stop struggling. Xiaoping said loudly, indicating that knocking out a girl he liked and taking her away was a legally recognized tradition. Shameless native. Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. What kind of planet's tradition was this? He even dared to say that it was recognized by the law. Only ignorant, uncivilized, primitive people would have such shameless behavior. In a civilized society, this was against the law. Sure enough, this bastard came from some indigenous planet. He came from an uncivilized society. His entire brain was made of paste, otherwise, how could he do such a thing? Boom! But at this moment Xiaoping made his move. With lightning speed he pounced over. The wings on his back vibrated, rolling up the air. An ordinary person would not be able to react in time. But Yi Mengyao was obviously not an ordinary person. Her divine sense was extremely sharp, and her reaction speed was lightning fast. Almost in an instant, she noticed Xiaoping's movements and reacted in time. She raised her jade-like hand, which emitted a green light, and slapped out. It contained divine power. Dong! The fist and palm collided, and instantly there was a shocking impact. The energy vibrated like dozens of volcanoes erupting, or meteorites hitting the earth. The surrounding small mountains were shaken to the point of collapse, and gravel flew in all directions. Trees were uprooted and thrown into the air, exploding into fine powder in midair. Damn it! Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. She was sent flying by this force, and she retreated 2 to 3 kilometers. At the same time, this guy's punches and kicks contained terrifying strange flames, burning every corner of her body. In just a few breaths, a part of her earth energy was burned. The clothes that were originally formed from earth energy were now more than half destroyed, revealing her flawless white body. What a beast! Yi Mingyao's pretty face was red. Any woman who fought with this bastard would have to worry about losing their innocence. If this continued, she might really fall into the hands of this native. Once she fell into the hands of this native, she did not dare to believe what would happen to her. Maybe the rice would really be cooked. Even though this was a virtual world and not the real world, the feeling was the same. Run! Yi Mengyao did not say anything else. She immediately turned around and left. She decided to temporarily retreat and regroup. Today was probably not a good day to make a move on this bastard. She had completely remembered today's events. There would always be a time when this native would be unlucky. Ultimate Art Shadow Shift. With a swoosh, her figure flickered. It was as if she had traveled through space. In an instant, she was more than 10 kilometers away from where she was. And in an instant, she was out of Xiaoping's range of pursuit. So fast. Xiaoping originally wanted to chase after her and capture her. But her speed was so fast that he was caught unprepared. Even if he wanted to catch up, it was too late. Chapter 986. Whoosh! Xiaoping returned to his original spot. By this time, the surrounding mercenaries had been wiped out by a group of children. All of them were sent back to their homes. Not a single one was left. Native brother, where's that female bandit? The little lowly Yi Jejia blinked her eyes. Many children also looked at Xiaoping. Xiaoping said casually, she escaped, but it doesn't matter. She was alone anyway. In short, we wiped out this group of bandits. It's our victory. Yes, we won. Haha. Those stupid bandits were no match for us at all. At first, they had more people. I thought we would lose. I didn't expect to win. Don't you see how powerful we are? We are super experts who are invincible in the world. Jejia, did you see how powerful I was just now? I defeated that bad bandit with one punch. The group of children was proud, feeling that they had won a battle. They were like legendary heroes who had defeated evil enemies and obtained a great victory. They felt happier than ever, because they had never experienced such a situation where they were outnumbered. This game of wiping out bandits was much more fun than going to school. Oh no! A child's expression changed. My dad found out that I skipped class. He's calling me now. He found that his communicator was constantly ringing. The person calling him was clearly his dad. It's over. My mom also found out that we skipped class. How could this be? My sister also called and said that she's coming to school to teach me a lesson. Hurry up and go back. Otherwise, we'll be completely finished tonight. We'll definitely be beaten Pigu. Sorry, native brother, we have to run. Many children found that their communicators were constantly ringing with messages. It was a series of life-threatening calls. It seemed that the news of them skipping class had immediately been found out by their parents. The parents were all furious. They had learned to skip class at such a young age. If they did not immediately correct it, what would happen when they grew up? Would they learn bad things and become space pirates? Xiaoping knew that this was inevitable. The mercenaries would definitely report this matter to their employer, when they left the virtual world. Then, the matter of these children skipping class would also be exposed. In order to avoid their own mistakes, these mercenaries even pushed the blame for this matter to the group of children. They said that if not for this group of children, they would have already killed Wu Wudi. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The group of children were as fast as lightning. They were flustered and immediately ran towards the novice village. They wanted to quickly go offline, or else their angry parents would teach them a lesson. In just a few breaths, they disappeared on the spot. They didn't care about the large pile of gold and silver treasures left on the ground. These were the treasures left behind by the mercenaries. We've struck it rich this time. Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately stored the treasures on the ground into his storage space. He roughly estimated that these treasures alone were worth 25 million universe credits, which was a huge sum of money. In addition to the money he got from the group of children, he had 49 million universe credits on him, which was close to 50 million. Although he was still a distance away from 1 billion universe credits, there was no doubt that he was moving towards this goal step by step. If something like this happened a few more times, it wouldn't be particularly difficult to accumulate 1 billion universe dollars. There are quite a few Shadow Thunder bombs. This is a good one-time treasure. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He also found 50 Shadow Thunder bombs among these treasures. Through the previous battle, he knew that the Shadow Thunder bomb was a powerful one-time treasure. With such a secret treasure, it could often change the situation of the battle and give him a huge advantage. Moreover, such a treasure was very valuable. Sometimes, even money might not be able to buy it. Unfortunately, Xia Ping was unable to find any prized artifacts among the pile of treasures. He did not know if the mercenaries had deliberately chosen not to bring any prized artifacts with them, or if prized artifacts were so expensive that not everyone possessed one. Whoosh! After checking all the treasures, Xia Ping walked towards the novice village. After an hour, he returned to the novice village. At this time, the group of children had already gone offline and returned to the real world. He didn't particularly care. He went directly to the martial arts school and saw the novice village chief. He said directly, "I have eliminated the mountain bandit One-Eyed Wolf and completed the mission." The white-bearded old man stroked his grizzled beard and said, "Not bad, not bad. Thank you for your help, little friend. You've gotten rid of a great calamity for our village. The heavens really have eyes to send a young hero like you to our village." "You're welcome. Where's the reward?" Xia Ping blinked his eyes. He didn't want polite words but a reward. "Don't worry. The reward is here." The white-bearded old man waved his hand, and immediately there were 3 talismans in his hand. Xia Ping asked curiously, "What is this?" "This is a small teleportation talisman." The white-bearded old man smiled slightly. "As long as you tear a talisman, you can immediately teleport hundreds of kilometers from where you are. No one can catch your trace." "Good stuff." Xia Ping's eyes suddenly lit up. This was simply a trump card. If he encountered great danger, he could use this talisman to quickly escape, and the enemy could only watch from the side. It could be said that with this talisman, it was equivalent to having 3 lives. Although he knew that the reward of this task was very rich, he didn't expect it to be so rich. If other people knew that Xia Ping got such a precious talisman, perhaps all of them would be jealous. Corinne was also taken aback. He knew how difficult it was to get the reward of this martial arts space. Even if he completed the task, he would only get some insignificant treasures. Only by completing extremely difficult tasks would he get the appreciation of this virtual system and be rewarded with precious treasures. "Well, little friend, if there is nothing else, please leave." The white-bearded old man ordered him to leave. Xia Ping nodded. After getting 3 small teleportation talismans, which could be called a life-saving trump card, he was also satisfied. Naturally, there was no reason to continue to stay in this place. Go back. At this time, Xia Ping once again returned to the square of the novice village and directly went offline. His spiritual consciousness suddenly returned to his original body. Immediately, the experience of 7 or 8 days in the virtual world was stuffed into his mind, including fighting experience, learning Yang God Fist, creating Black Vortex Ripple Fist, and other martial arts experience suddenly emerged in the depths of his mind. Rumble at this moment. Xiaoping felt that his martial arts cultivation had been greatly improved. It was as if he had been greatly honed. The aura in his body resonated with heaven and earth, reaching the realm of unity of man and nature. Chapter 987. Sun God Fist. Xiaoping felt that his soul and body had merged into one, and the martial arts mystery of the Yang God Fist completely burst out in his body. The earth core spirit fire, the sun essence, and the fire of life, the three kinds of unusual fires, began to slowly merge under the effect of the Yang God Fist. The three kinds of fire spread out from all parts of his body, along his meridians, and finally reached the deepest part of his dantian, forming a strange cycle. Slowly, the three kinds of fire merged with each other, as if condensing into a fire seed. This fire seed seemed to be the foundation of the Sun God Fist. It was the Sun God seed, like a black hole, which could devour all the fire in the world and make it its own. It could even remove impurities and purify continuously. Whoosh! The moment the Sun God seed condensed, all 108,000 pores on Xiaoping's body emitted wisps of fire. He seemed to have turned into a huge man of fire. He sat cross-legged on the ground. The fire burned the soil and rocks, as if turning the area into magma. Bang bang bang. The golden crow of hell cells in the depths of Xiaoping's body also began to be refined. Majestic energy surged into every corner of his body, constantly strengthening his bones, skin, meridians, muscles, and other parts of his body. He felt that his strength seemed to have been greatly improved. A golden crow of hell formed in his dantian, roaring at the sky and forming a unique resonance with the world. So strong. Xiaoping felt that he seemed to be evolving toward the golden crow of hell. Every cell in his body was like a small volcano, able to contain a large amount of magma. Any random punch of his could explode with extreme fire energy, destroying everything like a volcanic eruption. When the fire in his body rose to the extreme, it directly rushed into the depths of his mind. A golden soul crystal was also burned by the fire, melted, and condensed into a golden liquid. This soul crystal was obtained from the soul-eating beast. Every time he leveled up, a part of the soul energy would be melted, helping him to improve his soul power. Drip, drip, drip. Immediately, the golden liquid dripped onto Xiaoping's soul, constantly nourishing it. He felt his soul power and mental strength constantly strengthening. The range of Xiaoping's spiritual power had expanded. Originally, it could only sense 20 to 30 kilometers, but after obtaining this soul crystal, a portion of it had melted, causing his soul energy to increase by leaps and bounds. All of a sudden, he was able to sense the area within a radius of 50 kilometers. Furthermore, his perception of danger was even more acute. So hungry. Very quickly, Xiaoping felt his body sending out a signal of hunger. His soul and body complemented each other. Because of the increase in his soul power, his body was extremely hungry. He needed to devour a large amount of energy to make up for the deficit. That's right, I still have a lot of spiritual liquid on me. Xiaoping had obtained a large pool of spirit liquid from the shark demon monarch. Even though he had used a lot of it previously, he still had a pile left. It was enough for him to make up for the deficit in his body. Rumble. As soon as he took out the spirit liquid, his 108,000 pores produced a terrifying suction force. He was like a whale, continuously devouring the surrounding seawater for his own use. Immediately, Xiaoping felt that there was a huge amount of energy in his body. Like a great river, it poured into his 108 meridians, rumbling. These meridians were just like a great river. The water was trembling, and the majestic energy was like a flood dragon, wantonly turning over the rivers and seas in these meridians. Dong! Dong! When these energies reached the extreme, Xiaoping's body was constantly shaking. One by one, his acupoints were crazily opened, forming lakes as if the world was being created. And these lakes contained the rapidly increasing amount of Gang Qi, so they would not flood because of too much water. 1, 2, 3. The speed at which Xiaoping broke through the acupoints was simply irresistible. The acupoints in his body were constantly opened, and the Gang Qi in his body was rapidly increasing. After an hour, 12 acupoints had been broken through in succession, and he had reached the peak of the 7th heaven of supreme power realm. One more step. Xiaoping ran the pure young immortal technique in one go. There was an inexplicable aura in his body, and a flame vortex formed in the depths of his Dantian Sea of Qi, constantly rotating. Boom! At this moment, he directly drove the Gang Qi to break through the next acupoint at once. The 8th heaven of supreme power realm. Xiaoping immediately knew that he had been promoted to a new realm. He was suddenly enlightened, and his strength and speed were much stronger than before. He was getting closer and closer to the king realm. Is this the gate of the Purple Mansion? Xiaoping's spiritual force penetrated into the depths of the sea of consciousness. When he was at the 7th heaven of supreme power realm, he could only see it roughly, but now he could see it clearly. It was a purple gate, which seemed to be made of bronze. There were many mysterious patterns carved on it, as if they were the rules of heaven and earth, containing incredible power. It was this gate that prevented ordinary people from opening the Purple Mansion. No one knew how many supreme power masters had fallen in this place. Dong! 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 He ran his spiritual force and turned it into a huge iron hammer, smashing it hard. Suddenly, an astonishing sound burst out and kept shaking, as if he was striking a Buddhist bell. Even though the gate was shaking more violently than before, it was still as firm as a rock. It seemed that no matter what Xiaoping did, the poison could not break this mysterious gate. Still not enough? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He felt that he was only one step away from breaking through to the Purple Mansion realm. But this step was simply like a natural chasm. Because of his deep martial arts foundation, his obstacles were stronger than ordinary martial artists. This gate was also more solid and more difficult to break. But once he succeeded, he could open up a wider Purple Mansion that could accommodate more magic power. After entering the King realm, magic power was the real foundation of a cultivator's strength. The more magic power one possessed, the more powerful the cultivator was. Soon, if I advance to the 9th heaven of supreme power realm, perhaps I can try to break through to the King realm and open up the Purple Mansion. Xiaoping clenched his fists, revealing a glimmer of light, showing his incomparable confidence. He sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, and continued to absorb the energy of the spiritual liquid. He felt that his breakthrough was not over yet, and he could continue to open up a few more acupoints to strengthen the Gang Qi in his body. This would also be of great benefit to the next trip to the secret realm. Chapter 988. When the news of the mercenaries being wiped out came one after another, it immediately shocked the upper echelons of the major families. They could not believe this fact. Are you kidding me? Are these mercenaries trash? 200 people, at least 200 people. You're telling me that they were all wiped out, and not a single one of them was left alive. In the end, not even a single hair on that kid's head was hurt. If this isn't a joke, then what is? A family elder cursed. He felt that this group of mercenaries was simply trash. He felt that those were 200 people, 200 living people. They were a group of murderers who lived on the edge of a knife, not 200 pieces of wood. How could they be annihilated by this brat alone? Not a single one of them survived. If he had not seen with his own eyes that this group of mercenaries had been kicked out of the virtual network, he would not have believed such a thing. It was a little like the biggest joke of the year. Damn it, we gave them so much money just to deal with the scammer. They were still here bragging about how easy it was to capture them. But now they've been captured by that scammer. Did they get things the wrong way? This group of mercenaries is not very capable, but they talk big. They brag all day long. Can't they do something useful? It's too exaggerated. I think there's something wrong with this group of mercenaries. Is there a spy among them? Otherwise, they must have been bribed by that scammer in advance. Otherwise, how could more than 200 people be wiped out? Even cutting grass can't be that fast. Tell us the truth. Did you take money from that scammer Wuwudi? Many family elders stared at this group of mercenaries fiercely. They were filled with murderous intent. Some people suspected that these mercenaries had taken money from both sides. They were fence-sitters, planning to take advantage of both sides. That was why such an absurd thing had happened now. It made countless people's jaws drop. How could we take money? Don't try to frame us as you can. We are a group of people with professional ethics. You can insult our strength, but you can't insult our character. Some mercenaries were immediately dissatisfied. So what if we insult you? 200 of you were killed by a scammer, and you didn't even hurt a hair on that scammer's head. You're still fucking proud. Don't you have any shame and self-esteem as a cultivator? A family elder jumped up and pointed at their noses. He did not give this group of mercenaries any face. This is not a crime. That's right, it's not our fault. It's all your fault for not disciplining your children properly. You let your family's children enter the virtual world. In the end, they were captured by that kid and used as his shield and hostage. That's why we were so restrained. That's right. If it weren't for your family's children staying there as hostages, we would have killed him with a few punches and kicks. How would we have given him the chance to kill us? It's all your fault. If you didn't look down on your own family members and cause trouble at the critical moment, how could we have failed our mission? Many of the mercenaries felt that they had been wronged. They thought that it wasn't that the group of children had appeared for no reason, and that they had been tricked by that brat and had become his hostages. They would not restrain themselves in battle, but in a moment of carelessness, they were destroyed by that swindler, Wuxia. It was all the fault of these families. Don't try to shirk responsibility here. Even if we had hostages, we wouldn't have been completely wiped out like you guys. Noobs are noobs, don't deny it. A family elder sneered. A mercenary flew into a rage and was very unconvinced. You say you're invincible, but you're powerless. If you have the guts, try and see if you can defeat that Wuxia. I reckon you'll be destroyed before you can even get close to that kid. You can only brag here. If you really go in, you'll die faster than us. He had fought with Xiaoping before, so he naturally knew what a terrifying enemy he was. Putting aside that kid's character and all kinds of tricks, just Wuxia's martial strength alone was extraordinary. It was not something that ordinary people could compare to. With so many mercenaries, it was impossible to find someone who could fight this kid one-on-one. He had mastered a saint-level martial art and was already invincible among his peers. Therefore, he did not believe that these big families would perform much better than them when dealing with that kid in the novice village. They would definitely be killed by Wuxia in a second. The other mercenaries nodded in agreement. Recalling what had happened just now, they were knowledgeable and naturally knew how terrifying Wuxia's martial strength was. That kid might really live up to his name. Both sides kept arguing and were in a stalemate. They pushed the blame onto each other. The big families naturally thought that this was the mercenaries' incompetence that caused such a result. However, many mercenaries thought that this was the fault of the big families. If the group of children had not run around and become Wuxia's hostages, this would definitely not have happened. In short, both sides kept arguing and arguing. In the end, a mercenary said helplessly, "In short, that kid is really not simple. He can be said to be invincible among his peers. I don't know what kind of power he has mastered. All of us combined are not his match. If we want to deal with him, we can only wait until he leaves the novice village." He expressed that no matter how much money they gave him, he would not deal with Wuxia in the novice village. This was not dealing with him at all, but sending him to his death. The other mercenaries had the same thought. The people from the big families all gritted their teeth. They did not expect that a small liar would make them behave like this. It was simply the greatest humiliation. However, they could not catch that kid, so they could only stare at him. At this time, Yi Mengyao also left the virtual world. She contacted many of her close friends in the group to ask about this matter. They wanted to know the outcome and whether the shameless liar was killed. "I didn't kill him." Yi Mengyao was very helpless. "What? Why didn't you kill him?" "That's right. With your strength, Mengyao, wouldn't it be easy to catch a liar?" "That's right. Even if he suppressed his cultivation, he should still be invincible among his peers." "Don't tell me you were lenient because you liked that liar." Many of her close friends were extremely shocked. They did not understand what had happened. Yi Mingyao's pretty face turned red. Not only did she not kill that kid, but she was also almost killed by that damned liar. He even wanted to capture her and cook the rice. He wanted to ruin her innocence. "Don't talk nonsense. It's not like that. Yi Mengyao felt that she could not tell the truth even if she was beaten to death. Otherwise, she did not know what her close friends would say. She must bury this secret forever. She said that she could not defeat that kid because that shameless liar had captured her sister and used her as a shield, forcing her to be cautious and restrained. That was why such a thing had happened. Chapter 989. No wonder that scammer didn't get rid of him. He took Mingyao's sister as a hostage. One of her friends suddenly understood. If that was the case, then it could be completely explained. Otherwise, how could the elf saintess, a once-in-a-thousand-years genius, Yi Mengyao, be unable to deal with that country bumpkin? It didn't make sense at all. Damn it. That scammer is really despicable. He took a child as a hostage. How could he do such a despicable thing? He's simply a disgrace to humanity. Mengyao, don't worry. If I meet that Wu Wuti, I will definitely avenge you. This kind of person is unforgivable. If he continues like this, he will definitely become a cancer of the universe. We will definitely help you get rid of him. The group of friends gritted their teeth, filled with righteous indignation. They didn't expect that the scammer Wu Wuti would be so despicable. He even took Mingyao's sister as a hostage. They all said that if they met that Wu Wuti, they would definitely not show any mercy. Rai Mingyao felt very guilty and nodded in agreement. Fortunately, that scammer Wu Wuti couldn't possibly know her best friend. Otherwise, if what happened in the novice village was exposed, she would definitely be laughed at by her sisters. But after this incident, that bastard might not appear in the novice village for a while. Yi Mengyao guessed that after experiencing such an ambush, that kid would definitely be more vigilant. If he wanted to ambush again, it wouldn't be so easy. It's fine. That bastard is ambitious. After cheating so much money, he definitely won't be willing to stay in the novice village. Sooner or later, that bastard will also leave the novice village and come to the big city. Just wait patiently. For now, don't alert the scammer. Let that scammer relax his guard for a while. After we set up an inescapable net, that kid will have a good time. When he leaves the novice village, he's dead meat. Let's see how many more people he can deceive. Although they were unwilling to admit it, it had to be said that someone who was able to swindle so much money and cause so many mercenaries to fail was quite capable. How could a capable person like him be willing to stay in novice village? He would leave sooner or later. Now, as long as they waited patiently, that kid would definitely show up. That's the only way. Just you wait. The next time we meet, I'll catch this bastard and beat him up for 3 days and 3 nights. Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. These words were almost squeezed out from the gaps between her teeth. After what had happened, she had almost lost her chastity. One could imagine how much she hated Wu Wuti. Without a doubt, her desire to capture Wu Wuti was stronger than anyone else's. The two of them were enemies now. Rat this time. The little lowly Yi Jejia was captured by her parents and severely criticized. Jejia, tell me, who led you astray? He had actually started skipping classes to play in the virtual world. Didn't he know that this was very inappropriate behavior? I'm going to punish you by not going out to play for a month. You can only stay at home. Mother Yi was very angry. Not only was she angry that her youngest daughter ran out to play, but she was also fooling around with that swindler. After being cheated of so much money, she still foolishly stayed with that swindler. Did she want to be cheated again? Why was this youngest daughter of hers so stupid? Mom, don't be angry. I know I was wrong. I'll study hard and practice martial arts in the future. I'll strive to catch up to big sister. Yi Jejia was very obedient, blinking her big eyes. Really? Mother Yi was a little confused. Her youngest daughter had never been so obedient before. Once she preached, she would definitely tear up and attack with tears to soften her heart. She didn't cry now, and even promised that she would study hard in the future. One had to know that this youngest daughter was always lazy. When she was asked to practice martial arts, she would always find excuses to be lazy and not train. She would either say that she had a headache or that her feet hurt. If it wasn't for her excellent talent, even if she didn't practice, she could still advance by leaps and bounds. Her martial arts cultivation would have long fallen behind other children. Therefore, When she heard Yi Jejia say that she would be a slave in the future, she was simply stunned. Jejia, did you fall somewhere and hurt your head? Let me see if there's any problem. Mother Yi subconsciously wanted to check her youngest daughter's head to see if it was broken somewhere. There's no problem. Yi Jejia puffed up her cheeks, and her little face flushed with anger. Is there really no problem? Mother Yi had a doubtful look on her face. There's really no problem. I must break through to the Purple Palace realm as soon as possible and grow up to be an adult. Yi Jejia patted her chest and vowed, showing that she wasn't lying. Because she wanted to leave the novice village as soon as possible and follow her native brother to exterminate bandits. She would never miss something fun like this. Of course, she wouldn't say such a reason out loud. Otherwise, she would definitely be beaten by her own parents. At that time, Piga would suffer. Good, very good. It seems that Jejia has grown up and knows the importance of martial arts cultivation. If you practice hard in the future, I can meet one of your requests. Buy whatever you want. Father Yi laughed. Looking at his youngest daughter's doting expression, he was very pleased. His youngest daughter had finally grown up and felt a little sensible. Thank you, Dad. Yi Jejia pounced on him and said coquettishly. Really? Our mother Yi was very distressed and helpless. It's really a good baby daughter. If I don't discipline her seriously and let her have a long memory, when she grows up in the future, she will be cheated by those scumbags. In short, you must learn a lesson this time. Mother Yi looked at Yi Jejia with a serious face. The next time you skip class, I will put you in confinement for half a year. You are not allowed to go anywhere. Got it? Yi Jejia nodded hard. This kind of thing also happened in many other families. Those children all swore that they would work hard to cultivate in the future and become stronger as soon as possible. They would never slack off and not train like before. The parents of these families were very satisfied. Although they lost a lot of money this time, if their children were sensible and could work hard to change their lazy character, it would be worth it. Nothing is more important than an excellent successor. This is something that can't be bought with money. This was also a great fortune and misfortune. Some parents thought that perhaps it was because of this that their son became sensible. Chapter 990. In the Secret Land. Another night had passed, and Xiaoping finally woke up from his closed-door cultivation. After a night of hard cultivation, he had integrated the martial arts experience in the virtual world. He had also completely consolidated his martial arts cultivation at the 8th heaven of Supreme Power Realm. Revan, because he had absorbed a large amount of spiritual liquid and the energy of the spiritual medicine, he had also opened 2 or 3 acupoints in one go, which made his Gang Qi cultivation stronger. However, because he had absorbed a large amount of spiritual liquid, Xiaoping had consumed more than half of his spiritual liquid, spiritual medicine, and other treasures. It was estimated that they could only support him to reach the 9th heaven of Supreme Power Realm at most. If he wanted to reach the Purple Mansion realm, these spiritual medicine alone were far from enough. Fortunately, this was a secret land, where rare treasures like the 5 elements spiritual fruit grew. If he could get these spiritual fruits, it might not be difficult to reach the Purple Mansion realm. The power of the 8th heaven of Supreme Power Realm is really extraordinary. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He had now opened a total of 99 acupoints, each of which contained a vast amount of stellar energy. These 99 acupoints were equivalent to 99 vortexes, in which there were golden crows of hell. They were constantly absorbing the spirit qi of heaven and earth, making him stronger almost all the time. It could be said that because of the existence of these acupoints, the Gang Qi in his body formed a cycle, which accelerated Xiaoping's cultivation speed. He was many times faster than ordinary cultivators. Now his strength was also a lot stronger than before. Sun God Fist. At this moment, Xiaoping was performing the Sun God Fist in the cave. He felt as if he was immersed in the rhythm of this fist technique, and the flame qi between heaven and earth was absorbed into his body. Revan, the blood flowing in every blood vessel in his body, seemed to be integrated with the flame energy at this moment, flowing in countless blood vessels like magma. If his blood dripped on the ground now, it would be similar to magma. In an instant, a big hole would be burned out of a rock, quickly burning everything. Every single one of Xiaoping's acupoints seemed to be inhabited by golden crows of hell, which resonated with the Empyrean energy in his Dantian region and sea of energy. These vibrations were like the thunder of tigers and leopards, constantly tempering their bodies, making them stronger. It was as if their bones and muscles were becoming denser and denser. As expected of a saint-level fist technique, its mysteries are indeed astonishing. Xiaoping couldn't help but sigh. The more he practiced this fist technique, the more he felt that this fist technique was broad and profound. It seemed to contain the endless mysteries of the universe, and it could continuously unlock the treasures of the human body, constantly evolving. Wonder how my current strength is compared to a purple mansion realm cultivator. Xiaoping clenched his fist. He might not be comparable to a purple mansion realm cultivator, but it wouldn't be easy for a regular purple mansion realm cultivator to kill him instantly. It could be said that his current strength had surpassed most cultivators at the peak of the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a half-step King Realm cultivator. If he could be promoted to the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, he might be able to fight against a Purple Mansion Realm cultivator. At this moment, the system's voice came out. Congratulations to the host for angering a large number of cosmic mercenaries. This time, you have gained 250 million hatred points. The current total hatred points are 580 million. I hope to continue to work hard and gain more hatred points. 250 million hatred points. Xiaoping touched his chin. He was in a very good mood. This time, not only did he get 25 million universe coins from those mercenaries, but he also gained more than 200 million hatred points. It was really a fruitful operation. Moreover, he had also broken through his martial arts cultivation, making himself stronger. It was estimated that in this secret realm, he would be able to deal with all kinds of difficulties more easily. Our big brother. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. Who is it? Xiaoping turned his head and called out. It's me, the Crow of Misfortune. Something big has happened outside, and I need you to come out and make a decision as soon as possible. The Crow of Misfortune shouted outside the cave entrance. Because Xiaoping was in seclusion, he used a huge rock to seal the entrance of the cave, so it could not get in. Of course, if it used its strength, this rock would not be a problem, but it did not dare to break it, for fear of destroying Xiaoping's seclusion and making Xiaoping angry. The consequences would be unimaginable. Okay, I'll go out now. Xiaoping stayed in the cave for almost a day and a night. He did not want to stay here any longer. It was just the right time to leave and move his muscles and bones. Ardong. Xiaoping stretched out his hand, and with a light pat, the huge boulder blocking the entrance of the cave was instantly shattered into dust. The dust flowed on the ground, but the surrounding stone walls were not damaged in the slightest. What? When the Crow of Misfortune saw this scene, it was immediately dumbfounded. It knew how difficult it was to execute this move. It had to have reached the microscopic realm of power control to be able to do it. There was no doubt that after this day and night of cultivation, this human strength was even more terrifying. Big brother, did you break through? The Crow of Misfortune asked subconsciously. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. I accidentally broke through while sleeping. He accidentally broke through. The Crow of Misfortune was speechless. It had never seen such a person break through while sleeping. Was there still any justice in this world? Although it had long known that this human was abnormal, it did not expect him to be this abnormal. What did he think cultivation was? Why was it easier than eating and drinking for this bastard human? Although it was very unhappy, it had to admit that this human was really a monster. He could not compare to it. In the current situation, perhaps the stronger this human was, the more benefits it would bring them. Right, let's not talk about this. Why are you in such a hurry? What happened? Did the soldiers of the 5 major races find us and attack? Xiaoping immediately asked. Arichi had been in seclusion for a day and a night. Anything could have happened. No, we were very cautious and hid in the cave. We were not discovered by the soldiers of the 5 major races. The Crow of Misfortune said in a deep voice. the crow of misfortune said in a low voice. But the other humans in this secret realm aren't as lucky. What do you mean? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. The crow of misfortune sighed. The soldiers of the 5 major races are simply crazy. They carried out a carpet search and sent a large number of elites. They captured anyone they saw day and night. As you can imagine, with such a high-intensity capture operation, many humans were immediately captured by them and became their captives. Chapter 991. At this moment, in a forest, many temporary wooden huts were built. The elite soldiers of the Blackwood race, the Rock Giant race, the Metal Machine race, the Drought Demon race, and the Slime race were gathered here. There were tens of thousands of them. At the back of this temporary station, there was a wooden hut that was used as a temporary prison. Many humans were locked inside, and their hands and feet were chained up by sturdy iron chains. These iron chains were extremely sturdy. They were formed from the depths of volcanoes after thousands of years of being tempered by magma. Even a grandmaster would not be able to break this kind of volcanic iron. Therefore, once one was chained up by these iron chains, it was almost impossible to escape. At this moment, these humans were also ruthlessly beaten up by the soldiers of the 5 races. They were beaten black and blue, and their faces were beyond recognition. Some of them could not even see their original appearances. It was obvious exactly how horrifying the treatment they had suffered was. Among them were Wu Quan, LV Shan, Ren Haodong, and the others. Almost all the humans who entered this secret realm to participate in the trial were captured. Those who were not captured were killed in the process of resisting. Let me tell you lowly humans, you better behave. A captain of the Blackwood race looked down and stared fiercely at Wu Quan and the others. If it wasn't for the fact that you guys still have some use, I would have killed you scourges long ago. You actually dared to kill so many of my Blackwood race's brothers. Even if you die 10,000 times, you won't be able to make up for this sin. His eyes revealed a cruel glint and a murderous aura. Sir, Wu Quan shivered and begged for mercy. This matter actually has nothing to do with us. It's all that bitch Xiaoping's fault. That bastard killed your brothers from the same race. We were just passing by and did nothing wrong. As the saying goes, every debt has a debtor. If you want to take revenge, you should look for that bitch Xiaoping. It's useless to vent your anger on innocent humans like us. He felt that these demons were purely venting their anger on the wrong person. He hoped that these demons would have a merciful heart and let these innocent humans go. Bullshit. The captain of the Blackwood race cursed. You're still putting on an act here. Who doesn't know that you're in cahoots with that human Xiaoping? You're all brothers of the same race. How dare you say that this matter has nothing to do with you? What he has done is what you have done. The greater the sins he has committed, the greater the sins you have committed. You still want to find an excuse to avoid responsibility? You are delusional. In short, if we can't find that human Xiaoping, then we'll get rid of all of you human trash. We'll kill the chicken to scare the monkey, and we'll hold a memorial ceremony for our fallen brothers. Chapter 992. You still dare to play dumb? Do you think we're fools? These humans won't give up until they see the coffin. Don't talk nonsense with them. Beat them up first. Yes, beat them up and they'll be obedient. The elite soldiers of the 5 races sneered. They didn't believe anything these humans said. They were clearly from the same batch of people who had come to the trial. How could they say they didn't know where Xiaoping was? If this wasn't a lie, what else could it be? Without hesitation, they immediately attacked, punching and kicking Wu Quan and the others. Some of the monsters looked ferocious. They even used all kinds of cruel torture. They beat them until their faces were swollen, and they were on the verge of death. Even though Wu Quan and the others had the physique of a master, they couldn't bear it. After such a beating, they felt intense pain all over their bodies. It was as if every nerve was being pricked. It could be said that they had never suffered such pain in their lives. They screamed in pain. Are you going to tell us now? Are you going to tell us or not? The leader of the Drought Ho tribe stared at these humans coldly. If you don't tell us now, some of you will die in the next beating. Think about it carefully. Is your life more important or Xiaoping's? Its tone was full of threat, forcing these humans to tell the truth and stop sheltering Xiaoping. Sir, please don't beat us. If you continue, you'll really die. We really don't know where that bastard is. In fact, we're also looking for that bitch's whereabouts. If we know, we won't hesitate to tell you. That's right. To be honest, we're not afraid of exposing our dirty linen. In fact, we have a grudge against that bastard. We don't have any contact with him. He won't tell us his whereabouts. That's right. Even if you beat us to death, it's useless. If you don't know, then you don't know. Wu Quan and the others wailed. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have abandoned Xiaoping and the others and escaped. It would have been better if they had stayed and fought against those monsters together. That way, they might not have fallen into the hands of these monsters and suffered so much. But it was too late to say anything now. If they were caught by these monsters, they would probably suffer a fate worse than death. What a tough guy. Even after being beaten up, he is still so stubborn. The captain of the Drought Ho tribe was both shocked and furious. It didn't expect these humans to be so stubborn. Even though they were being tortured, they still kept the secret and refused to divulge any information about their companions. They even lied to its face, saying that there was enmity between them. Bah! If it really believed these humans, it would be the biggest fool in the world. If they really had a grudge against each other, why would they protect each other so much? Even if they were beaten to the brink of death, they were still unwilling to reveal each other's whereabouts. Was this something that people who had a grudge against each other would do? There was no doubt that they had a very good relationship with each other. They had gone through thick and thin together, and that was why they could do such a fearless act. This won't do. If we continue fighting like this, I'm afraid they'll really die. If we really let these humans die, we might even fulfill their wishes and die a martyr's death. I didn't expect these humans to look so weak, but all of them are so courageous and unwilling to surrender. If we weren't enemies, I would really admire them. Admire my ass. The more stubborn they are, the more troublesome it will be for us. If that's the case, how are we going to find the main culprit, the human Xiaoping? The soldiers of the 5 major races discussed. They didn't expect that even after such torture, these humans were still unwilling to reveal Xiaoping's whereabouts. Not a single one of them had surrendered. This was truly amazing. However, they also felt that it was troublesome. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to find Xiaoping's whereabouts. It was useless. Wu Quan and the others were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. They wanted to surrender and betray Xiaoping. But the problem was that no one believed their words. Instead, they were beaten up. Was there anyone more unlucky than them in this world? What should we do? We can't even pry out Xiaoping's whereabouts from these humans. Are we just doing useless work? The captain of the Drought Ho tribe frowned. He was extremely frustrated. That human was clearly just a fly that could be swatted to death at any time. However, because they couldn't find his whereabouts, he was still alive and kicking, causing trouble everywhere. It might not be useless work. The captain's blue eyes flashed. Since the relationship between the two sides is so good, we can use these humans as bait to lure the snake out of its hole. I believe that Brat knows that his comrades are in danger and will definitely help them. This way, we can use these humans as bait and set up a trap to catch them all in one fell swoop. He revealed his plan. Not bad, not bad. This plan isn't bad. Hearing this, the captain's eyes lit up. As long as that bastard has a conscience, he won't leave us in the lurch. However, as long as he dares to appear, that will be the day he dies. No one will be able to save him. He seemed to see Xiaoping appearing in front of him, kowtowing and begging for mercy. However, he didn't care. He was cold and merciless. Instead, he pressed this damn human to the ground and beat him up. He humiliated him wantonly and took revenge for his dead comrades. As expected of the captain of the machinery race. He's really cunning. I feel afraid just hearing this plan. Doesn't that mean that the human is dead for sure? Without a doubt, this is an overt plot. The human has no choice but to be forced out. As long as he dares to come out, he won't be able to escape no matter what. Haha, I can almost see that kid in a dilemma. After capturing that human, don't kill him first. Beat him up for an hour. That's not all. We have to capture him and drag him to the graves of our dead comrades. We have to kowtow 3,000 times and break one of his legs for every one of them. The elite soldiers of the 5 races were all feeling smug. They felt that the human Xiaoping was already a turtle in a jar. There was no way he could escape from their clutches. It's useless. This plan is completely useless. Wu Quan and the rest were shouting in their hearts. Previously, they had left Xiaoping and company in the lurch. They had even used them as shields to escape. They had already formed a mortal feud with them. That bastard knew that they were unlucky and had been captured by the demons. He couldn't wait to gloat over their misfortune. Why would he risk his life to rescue them? That was not something he could even dream of. However, they didn't dare to say such a thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have the value of luring Xiaoping out. When that happened, they would probably be dead for sure. They would be disposed of like trash by the demons. Chapter 993. Another day passed. Many elders of the 5 major races appeared in the temporary headquarters of the 5 major races. They were having lunch, chatting casually and bonding. Report. Suddenly, a scout ran in panting. What's the matter? The Drought Demon Tribe's elder frowned. If it wasn't something important, this scout wouldn't have been so rude and rushed in so anxiously. The scout took a deep breath and shouted. Reporting to the elders, we have found traces of the human Xiaoping. What? Hearing this, the elders of the 5 major races all stood up and stared at the scout. Speak, where is that human Xiaoping? Where did you find him? They were instantly overjoyed. After searching for that human for so long, they finally found traces of that bastard Xiaoping. At least their efforts these past few days weren't wasted. He's right outside our base. The scout had a strange expression. The Blackwood race elder was dumbfounded. That human is right outside our base? What do you mean by that? Could it be that that brat knows that he can't hide, so he walked right into our trap? The eyes of the mechanical race elder flashed. He was also extremely confused about this matter. Facing the search of the 5 major races, not only did that brat not run or hide, but he actually dared to appear in front of them so brazenly. He was practically courting death. Impossible. That human is extremely cruel. If he was really afraid of the 5 major races, he wouldn't dare to attack our brethren. Is he plotting something? The rock giant elder said in a low voice. He felt that he should stay vigilant, or else he might very well fall into that treacherous human's trap. The other elders couldn't help but nod. They remembered that they had been searching everywhere for their missing brethren. In the end, with the mechanical race's ability to sense each other, they finally found a cave. Many of their brethren had been tied up by Xiaoping there. However, they didn't expect that bastard human to actually bury a large number of nuclear bombs in the cave. They instantly blew up the entire cave, and the shockwaves spread over 12 kilometers. The soldiers of the 5 major races, who went to rescue them, were also killed. Thousands of them died, and the losses were heavy. It was precisely because of this that they simply hated Xiaoping to the bone, and they swore to kill this bastard human and take revenge for their brothers that had died for no reason. The scout replied, the reason why he came personally this time is because he wants to save his fellow humans. So he hopes to negotiate with us and return the human captives to him. It revealed the purpose of Xiaoping's visit. Bullshit. The Drought Demon Elder immediately cursed. What arrogance. He wants us to return the human captives to him? Who does he think he is? Just a few words, and we have to obey and obediently return the captives. It was extremely unhappy, feeling that Xiaoping was too arrogant, not putting them in his eyes at all. Where is that human? A cold light flashed in the eyes of the Blackwood race elder. I think we should go out immediately, capture him and torture him. Its body was filled with an intense killing intent. In terms of their hatred towards Xiaoping, the Blackwood tribe's hatred towards this bastard was undoubtedly the deepest, because the Blackwood tribe had lost the most of their brothers. That's right. What's the point of negotiating? Kill our way out immediately and kill him. He wants to negotiate with us? Does he have the right to do so? An ant wants to be on equal footing with an elephant. He's really blinded by lard. and he can't even see his own capabilities. The group of elders gritted their teeth, wanting to kill their way out and chop this brat into pieces. Elder. The scout hesitated for a moment, then said, "That human doesn't seem to have come alone. He seems to have brought a large number of helpers behind him. There are so many of them, and their numbers are astonishing." What? The elders were shocked. This brat didn't come alone. However, thinking about it carefully, this was very normal. After all, this was their temporary encampment, and there were over 10,000 soldiers here. No matter how courageous this brat was, he wouldn't dare to barge into the tiger's den alone. "Let's go out and take a look," the drought demon tribe elder said in a low voice. It wanted to know what this human wanted to do by coming here. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Immediately, all the elders in the encampment moved out, and a large number of soldiers followed behind them. Soon, they arrived at the entrance of the encampment. Elites gathered, and murderous intent filled the air. And outside the encampment's entrance, several hundred meters away, stood 5 to 6 figures, and one of them was Xia Ping. As for the others, they were 2 Linglong, the Green Luan, the Crow of Misfortune, and the other monsters, as well as the 3 great human grandmasters. They all stood behind Xia Ping to boost his prestige. As expected, that human Xia Ping is here. I'll go and kill him now. Seeing Xia Ping's appearance, the Blackwood tribe elder's eyes turned red. He couldn't suppress the killing intent in his chest, and he immediately wanted to attack. However, before he could do anything, he was stopped by the machine tribe elder beside him. The other party said in a low voice, "Don't be rash. Do you see the surrounding mountains? There are people lying in ambush everywhere." Many elders looked over, and they immediately discovered that in the dense forest, there were constantly moving plants and tree branches swaying. Their auras were chaotic, and they were all in a state of panic. Vaguely, there were many people lying in ambush behind the trees. There seemed to be a lot of people, at least 10,000. They were just waiting for Xia Ping's order to attack in an instant. Instantly, the Blackwood race's elder shivered, and his hair stood on end. If he had foolishly gone out just now, he would have fallen into an ambush, and would have been instantly sliced into dozens of pieces. He wouldn't even know how he died. Despicable humans, there's actually an ambush, the Blackwood race elder cursed. He was sweating profusely, and looked gratefully at the machine race elder. Otherwise, if the mechanical race elder grabbed onto it, it would be dead for sure. The rock giant elder, however, was puzzled. Strange. How did this human find so many helpers? It looks like there are tens of thousands of soldiers. Didn't they say that the number of participants was limited? According to the ancient rules, there were very few demons that participated in the trials each time. All of them were elites. After all, the number of 5 elemental spirit fruits was limited. They could not let all the elite demons of the demon race enter to their deaths. That would destroy the future hope of the demon race. Therefore, no matter what, there shouldn't be tens of thousands of people entering. The ancient era is the ancient era. Who knows what happened to the demon race? In the past, there definitely wouldn't be any humans entering, but now there are actually humans entering. This is quite strange. The machine tribe elder said in a low voice. Those humans rely on their numbers to send a large number of people in to participate in the trials. This isn't strange. In any case, we have to be careful and not fall into the trap of those treacherous people. Chapter 994. At this moment outside the camp, in the depths of the jungle, a group of monsters was holding a lot of branches in their hands. They kept shaking them, making it seem as if they had a large number of hands to confuse the elites of the 5 races. Brother, can we really make those bastards think that we have a large number of helpers? Will they see through us and attack us? Then we'll be finished, Metal Tiger said with a guilty conscience. Metal Tiger said with a guilty conscience. It always felt that this plan was a bit unreliable. Could it really fool the aliens of the 5 major races? Don't worry. With the intelligence of those aliens, they will definitely not find out the trick. They will definitely think that we have a large number of troops and ambush around. I don't think they dare to come over. Xia Ping was full of confidence. This was a strategy that had been verified by history. It was definitely a first-class strategy. unless the other party was a fool and attacked without saying a word. Otherwise, any cautious commander would not act rashly before they had a clear understanding of the situation. What should we do if those aliens really come over? Metal Tiger still felt a little unreliable, thinking that it was too insecure. Xiaoping said disdainfully, "What else can we do? Of course we'll run away. Are we going to wait for death here?" Metal Tiger and the other monsters all blushed. What he said was very reasonable. There were tens of thousands of troops on the other side. If they really attacked, they would not be able to resist. If they collided with them, they would probably be surrounded and killed. Moreover, it was easy for them to escape. Anyway, there were mountains everywhere, and they were far away from the other side. If they wanted to escape, it was estimated that the group of aliens would not be able to catch up. It could be said that this was a perfect plan. Even if they were seen through, they would not be in any danger. Xiaoping even ambushed a lot of nuclear bombs on the way to escape. If they dared to chase after him, he would immediately detonate them and blow them up. Anyway, he had prepared both ways. Even if he could not scare the other party, he could easily escape. But at present, it seemed that this group of aliens did not dare to act rashly. They should be temporarily frightened. "Brother, the group of aliens is coming out." Crow of Misfortune's eyes were very sharp. He immediately saw dense figures appearing at the camp gate. They were the elders of the group of aliens. Each of them had a strong aura, and had reached the peak of the supreme power realm. "Let's go and meet them." Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, and approached the group of alien elders. The Crows of Misfortune and the other demons were alarmed, but when they saw Xiaoping step forward, they had no choice but to follow and bolster Xiaoping's reputation. Although he was scared to death in his heart, he still looked calm on the surface. "Human, what are you doing here?" The machine race's elder roared. Although it hated Xiaoping to death, it still felt that it shouldn't act rashly before figuring out the other party's motives. The elders of the other races also had the same thoughts. This bastard human clearly knew that he was at a disadvantage, yet he still dared to come here personally. This was a little unusual. They didn't dare to believe that there was no conspiracy behind this. Therefore, all of them were very careful, afraid of falling into Xiaoping's trap. "You're still asking me what I'm doing here? Didn't I tell you trash before? Hand over my good friend immediately. Otherwise, I'll give the order to flatten all 5 of your clans." Xiaoping looked down from above, his tone extremely arrogant, as if annihilating these 5 races was nothing difficult. "Good friend." Hearing this, the 3 human grandmasters had strange expressions. This kid even had the intention to kill Wuquan and the others. The 2 sides were absolutely irreconcilable. So how could they be good friends? He was clearly lying through his teeth. However, this group of aliens didn't know that Xiaoping, Wuquan, and the others were up to no good. They were purely enraged by Xiaoping's arrogant attitude. Their hearts erupted like a volcano, bursting with anger. This bastard had come here to beg them to return the captives. But what was going on now? He looked down on them like an emperor, ordering them around as if they were his subordinates, arrogant, and insufferably arrogant. They had never seen such an arrogant and despotic person. Who would return a captive like this? Did he really think he was the boss? Those humans are our captives. Who do you think you are to hand them over just because you said so? You still dare to flatten our 5 clans? Are you fucking crazy? Do you think your life is too long? If you want us to return these human captives, we can. If you immediately commit suicide to atone for your crimes, we'll return them to you. That's right. If you don't commit suicide to atone for your crimes, you want us to return your human friends? Dream on. The group of alien elders cursed, their faces gloomy. All of them wanted to rush up and beat Xiaoping up. They even wanted to dismember him and chop him into meat paste. However, looking at the forest in the distance, the swaying branches, and the ambush from all sides, they felt a little afraid. They stopped in their tracks, afraid that thousands of thugs would come out of the dark forest and hack them to death. You guys have nothing to talk about. Do you want blood to flow like a river? Xiaoping's tone was very unyielding, as if he was going to command the army to flatten the camps of the 5 clans, if there was a disagreement. River your ass. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Come over if you have the guts. Let's see if you can kill us until blood flows like a river. The Drought Demon Tribe Elder shouted, looking like he was in a bad temper. I won't come over. Come over if you have the guts. If I don't kill you in 3 moves, consider it my loss. Xia Ping provoked, trying to goad it into action. The Drought Demon Tribe's elder was infuriated. It wanted to go over, but it was held back by the surrounding elders. They signaled with their eyes not to fall for this treacherous villain's provocation. This bastard had obviously set up an ambush in the forest, and was just waiting for it to go to its death. Human, don't be arrogant. Do you believe that I won't kill all your human friends? Don't forget, they are in my hands. Try and touch them if you dare. The Drought Demon Tribe Elder gritted its teeth. It remembered that it still had captives in its hands, so this brat had to be cautious. Do you think that you can still live without captives? This camp has long been flattened by my army. I guarantee that not even a hair will be left. Xia Ping said in disdain. Remember, these are all my good friends of many years. They grew up wearing the same pair of pants. You must provide them with good food and drinks, and serve them like lords. If they lose even a hair, I'll hold you responsible. He stood with his hands behind his back, ordering people around. He completely regarded himself as the boss of these aliens. Bastard! The elders of the 5 clans were so angry that smoke was coming out of their nostrils. They felt like their lungs were about to explode. This bastard human was really getting more and more excited as he spoke. The more he spoke, the more he thought of himself. Chapter 995. Alright, I won't say too much to you. Xia Ping was a little tired after saying so much. He looked at the elders of the 5 major races and said, in short, we came here today to greet us, to let you know what's good for you, to let you know what's good for you. Don't think that you can just kill anyone. The consequences are not something you can bear. Understand? I'll give you 3 days to think about it. If you know what it means to submit to circumstances, then obediently release the captives. That way, you won't have to suffer huge losses. Otherwise, you'll soon know what it means to be in big trouble. After saying that, he turned around and left without looking back. The Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters also turned around and left. This bastard, the Drought Demon race's elder, was fuming with anger. It could be said that it had never suffered such humiliation in its life. What kind of human was this? He was even more arrogant than the 5 races. He acted like he was the leader of his race, and treated them like slaves, beating and scolding them whenever he wanted. He was so arrogant. Should we go up and kill him? The Blackwood race's elder's eyes flashed with killing intent. It wanted to use this chance to stab the human and end this trouble. Don't be rash. The Machine race's elder said cautiously. Although I'm not convinced that this human is so arrogant, think about it carefully. Since he's so fearless, does he have something to rely on? Or maybe he's doing this on purpose to infuriate us. His goal is to attract us to attack him, so that we'll unknowingly fall into his trap and die. It still felt that this human wasn't simple. Maybe there was a huge conspiracy waiting for them. A strong sense of danger warned them not to act rashly. Otherwise, they would really be finished. If this human is lucky, the Blackwood race's elder gritted its teeth. It was so angry that its body was trembling. But it also understood that without knowing the human's background, it would be very dangerous to go up. No one knew what the human had up his sleeves. They could only watch as Xia Ping and the others left. A few minutes later, Xia Ping and the others disappeared in front of the 5 races' elders. However, they still didn't move. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the slime elder's eyes flashed, and he said in a deep voice, Everyone, my tribe's scouts around the camp have reported that a monster has infiltrated our camp. It seems to be a shadow fiend. What? The elders present were all shocked. They didn't expect such an accident to happen. They also knew how powerful the slime race was. Slime was like a blob of liquid that could transform into all kinds of shapes, and even change the color of its body to blend into its surroundings. It could be said to be the best spy in the world. As long as the slime lay on the wall and became one with it, it would be able to conceal its presence. In this way, no one would be able to discover the slime's whereabouts. This way, they could easily explore a lot of secret information. That human really is plotting something. Capture that spy and tear him to pieces. The rock giant elder's killing intent soared. He wanted to capture the spy immediately. Don't worry. The mechanical elder's mechanical eyes shone with a deep blue light. He seemed to be calculating something. What's the use of capturing that spy now? Let's see what exactly that fellow wants to do, and what tricks he has up his sleeves. Maybe we can find out the human's true purpose. It decided not to kill the spy for now. It let the spy enter its camp and wander around as it wished. It wanted to know what the human's purpose was in sending the shadow devil into its camp. The other elders nodded as well. They felt that it made sense. They immediately returned to their headquarters and pretended that nothing had happened. However, they ordered the slime to monitor the shadow devil that had infiltrated the camp. At this moment, in the room where the human captives were, Wuxian and the others were lying on the ground on their last breaths. They were all circulating their astral energy to heal their injuries, so that they could barely recover some strength. Who's there? Suddenly, Wuxian and the others opened their eyes. They felt a fluctuation in the air outside the door. It contained a trace of killing intent, causing their hair to stand on end. Although they were unlucky enough to be captured by this group of aliens, it didn't mean that they were rookies. All of them were battle-hardened and experienced. It was only because there were too many aliens that they were outnumbered. Whoosh! Immediately, the shadows on the ground gathered and slowly formed a figure. It was a shadow devil. It appeared in front of Wuxian and the other human grandmasters. Shadow devil. Wuxian and the others narrowed their eyes. They didn't expect that there would be a shadow devil in the camp of the captives. It should be known that this was the camp of the 5 major clans. It was heavily guarded and not so easy to enter. Most importantly, they had a blood feud with the Wuxia mountain. What did this shadow devil want to do here? Did it have some other malicious purpose? Immediately they became vigilant. All of their nerves were in the background. Don't be nervous, the shadow devil said. I didn't come here to kill you. I came here with Master Xia's order. I wanted to tell you a piece of news. Master Xia? Is it Xia Ping? Wuxian immediately thought of Xia Ping's name. That's right. The shadow devil nodded. Wuxian and the others had strange expressions. They all wondered if there was something wrong with their ears. Xia Ping was a human and had a blood feud with the Wuxia mountain. How could this guy be so respectful to Xia Ping? Was there a hole in his head? Or was it that Xia Ping, the bitch, had surrendered to the Wuxia mountain and become a traitor? That was why he had gained the shadow devil's loyalty. Why would you work for Xia Ping? Someone asked curiously. Working my ass. The shadow devil gnashed its teeth. If that bitch hadn't installed a fireball bomb in its body and could detonate it at any time, threatening it with its life, how could it have surrendered and obediently worked for this human? However, this kind of thing was too embarrassing to say, so it didn't want to say it. Thinking of this, the shadow devil was too lazy to care about the various speculations of this group of human grandmasters. It said straightforwardly, I won't say much nonsense. After all, time is limited. I only have one purpose for coming here, and that is to save you. Save them. Immediately, Wuxian and the others were not happy. Instead, they were full of doubts. Let's not talk about whether this shadow devil would be so kind. Just look at that bitch Xia Ping. Would that bitch be so kind? Chapter 996. The shadow devil also saw the doubts of these human masters. He coughed and said, I know what you are suspecting, but Master Xia told me that if he wants to kill you, he doesn't need to do anything at all. He just needs to watch you die, and he doesn't need to set up a trap. This is just taking off his pants and farting. His words were vulgar and straightforward. However, Wuxian and the others enjoyed it. It was indeed so. As long as Xia Ping remained indifferent and ignored the threats of the aliens, they would be dead meat. Would he still need to spend so much effort to plot against them? Even so, they still felt a little uneasy. After all, this was the scourge Xia Ping. Few of them would believe that there was nothing fishy about it. Of course, this is the camp of the 5 major races after all. The security is tight. It is very unrealistic for me to rescue you all by myself. The shadow devil ignored the thoughts of these human masters and continued. So Master Xia came up with a plan. In 3 days' time, he will attack the temporary camp of the 5 major races and kill all the aliens. Blood will flow like a river. Maybe you don't know yet, but Master Xia deliberately reached an agreement with these aliens. He said he would give them 3 days to think about it, but in fact it was to numb them. When the time is up, we will press on with our army and flatten this camp. We will catch them off guard. And when the time comes, you will fight your way out. You will work together from the inside and outside to kill all the aliens and take revenge. The Shadow Devil revealed the overall plan. What? The faces of the elders of the 5 major races, who were monitoring Wu Quan, and the other captives changed. They were very gloomy. They did not expect the human Xia Ping to have such an extremely evil plan. Despicable. The elder of the Drought Demon tribe cursed. I was wondering why that bastard would be so kind. He even said that he would give us 3 days to think about it. Turns out that he was just trying to lower our guard and launch an attack 3 days later. How despicable and shameless. It was shocked and angry. If they had not monitored the situation of the captives and received this information, they would have been kept in the dark and foolishly waited for the negotiation in 3 days. At that time, they would have been unprepared. Although they might not have been completely wiped out, they would have suffered heavy losses. Isn't that bastard afraid that we'll kill these captives? The rock giant elder gnashed his teeth. The Blackwood race's elder gritted his teeth and said, "Of course that bastard human isn't afraid. He has already calculated everything. If we want to negotiate with that Xia Ping, we can't lose those captives. So, how could he be afraid?" Many elders nodded. To a certain extent, this group of human captives was already under their protection. Before they achieved their goal, they would not die. It could be said that they were incomparably safe. You want to destroy us in 3 days? Let's go and annihilate that bastard right now, and see exactly what kind of ability he has. The Drought Devil clan's elder spoke in a cold voice and surged with killing intent. The machinery race elder waved his hand. Don't be anxious. Let's listen to what this spy has to say first. At this moment, Wu Quan and the others were not as happy as the elders of the 5 major races thought they would be. All of them were puzzled as they asked, "An army approaching? What right do you have to suppress us with your army? Don't you know that this is the encampment of the 5 major races? Don't you know that there are over 10,000 troops here? Could it be that you're here to throw your lives away?" They felt that the Shadow Fiend was joking. You don't have to worry about that. The Shadow Fiend did not explain much about this matter. Anyway, we have the power to deal with this group of aliens. I will come again 3 days later at night. At that time, I will release you all and coordinate with Lord Xia from the inside. I believe that with you all stirring up trouble from the inside, that group of aliens will definitely be caught off guard. After saying these words, it turned around and left, quickly disappearing from the prison cell. Wu Quan looked at the people around him and was the first to ask, "What do you all think about this matter?" Someone said straightforwardly, "I remain skeptical about this matter." That's right. That's that bitch Xia. How could he do something so strenuous and unrewarding? He even sent an army to rescue us. What a joke. He has wanted us to die for a very long time. Also, how did that army come about? Did it appear out of thin air? That's not how you scare people. Do you think we're stupid? But now, we have no choice but to believe it. At the very least, we have to pretend to believe it. After all, that brat is our only chance to survive. Many of the human grandmasters looked at each other helplessly. Even if they did not believe in Xia Ping's character, he was their last hope at the moment. Dong! At this moment, the door to the prison cell was kicked open. A group of race elders immediately barged in. Their faces were gloomy as they stared at Wu Quan and the others. "Speak. Why aren't you speaking? You seem to be having a good time talking to that spy just now." The Drought Demon elder sneered. "You even want to flatten the camp of our 5 major races in 3 days and work together from the inside. Pfft. You actually have such thoughts. You're all blinded by lard. Do you know how to write the word death?" Its murderous aura was almost tangible. Hearing these words, Wu Quan and the others' faces turned green. How could they have imagined that their conversation with the demon race spy would be overheard by this group of aliens? They were practically caught red-handed. They were all cursing in their hearts. That bastard shadow demon was not reliable at all. How was it trying to save them? It was clearly trying to kill them. How could there be such a spy who could be so easily discovered? This was too ridiculous. If that shadow demon was still here, they would want to strangle this unreliable demon with their own hands. Lord, it's not what you think. In fact, it's a demon that came here to sow discord. We don't know it at all. We've just met. Elvishan hurriedly distanced himself from the shadow demon. Bang! The drought demon elder rushed forward and immediately gave Lu Shan a punch, causing his left eye to swell up. He cursed, "Pick your ass. Do you really think we're idiots? Do you think we'll believe you just because you said a few words? You're chatting in full swing. You want to burn yellow paper and chop a yellow chicken to swear an oath of allegiance. You even said it's your first time meeting us. You don't even need to draft a lie." It couldn't take it anymore and punched Elvishan's right eye again. This time, it was symmetrical and turned into a panda eye. Elvishan fell to the ground, clutching his head and screaming. He was extremely sullen. This was an undeserved calamity. Go up and beat up this group of humans. They still want to work together from the inside and annihilate us. Let's see if they still dare to work together after we beat them half to death. Elder, that human Xia Ping asked us to provide for them with good food and drinks. Otherwise, the consequences would be dire. Provide for your mother. Xia Ping is your father. Whatever he says goes. Go up immediately and beat them half to death. That's right. Damn it. Xia Ping was so angry just now that smoke almost came out of my 7 orifices. Let's beat up this group of human captives for half an hour to vent the anger in our hearts. Chapter 997. Half an hour later, Elvishan and the others were beaten to a pulp and fell to the ground, barely breathing. They no longer had the strength to say a word, and were extremely miserable. Even if their relatives came here, they probably wouldn't be able to see what they originally looked like. Xia Ping, Elvishan, and the others gritted their teeth. These words were almost squeezed out from the gaps between their teeth. They finally understood that if it wasn't for that bastard Xia Ping's big mouth, this wouldn't have happened. That bastard didn't want to save them. He simply wanted to kill them. Although they didn't know what that bastard Xia Ping was planning, there was no doubt that it was definitely not beneficial to them. However, it was useless even if they said anything now. They would be treated as lies by the humans. Even if they wanted to expose it, not many aliens would believe them. Moreover, they were also beaten to the point of death. They couldn't say anything even if they wanted to. At this moment, after beating up this group of human captives, the elders of the 5 major races were in a much better mood. They felt that the anger they suffered from Xia Ping could finally be vented on this group of captives. What do we do now? Should we kill this group of human captives? Otherwise, if this group of human captives really works together in 3 days' time, I'm afraid we'll suffer heavy losses. The drought demon race elder was very murderous. Please don't. The machinery race elder shook his head. What's the use of killing them now? They're just captives without the strength to truss a chicken. Killing them will only alert the enemy and raise the vigilance of that human. In fact, if they want to plot against us, why can't we plot against them? Its eyes flickered, revealing a trace of treachery. What do you mean? The rock giant elder and the other aliens looked at the machinery race elder. The machinery race elder sneered. If they want to attack our camp in 3 days, let them attack. However, we can set up a huge trap and wait for them to come in obediently. Now we should return to the tribe and gather a large number of elites to ambush here. Think about it. They originally thought that we only had 10,000 people, but after killing our way in, they realized that there were tens of thousands of people. I'm afraid that group of human bastards will be scared to death. Hearing this, the other elders laughed sinisterly. They immediately felt happy. That human thought that his evil plan had succeeded, but who knew that they would beat him at his own game? When that group of humans and demons killed their way into the camp, they would probably be scared to the point of wetting their pants when they saw their numbers. Not bad, this is a good plan. As expected of the strategist and think tank of our 5 species. Let's do it this way. Kill that human. You want to destroy the encampment of our 5 great races? You're simply courting death. We'll just wait for those humans to come knocking on our door and throw away their lives. The elders of the various races were filled with murderous intent. They had decided to mobilize their troops, mobilizing a large number of the tribe's elites to ambush this place, waiting for Xia Ping to walk into the trap. Of course, the movements of the 5 clans in deploying their troops could not be hidden from Xia Ping and the others. Although they thought that they were very secretive, how could such a large-scale deployment of troops not be leaked? Big brother, just as you expected, the elders of the 5 major races have really mobilized the elites of their tribes. The crow of misfortune hid in midair and discovered the actions of the aliens. It immediately returned to report, its tone very excited. After these days of exploration, their efforts were not in vain. They carried out anti-reconnaissance on these aliens and finally found the headquarters of the 5 major races. They found that the 5 major races actually lived together, forming a huge tribal city. It was very prosperous, but the security was so tight that even a fly could not get in. Very good. Xia Ping touched his chin. We'll wait for these alien elites to come out. This way, when we go to the tribal headquarters, there will not be many guards, and the interior of the aliens' nest will be empty. When that time comes, we can attack and seize the 5 elements spirit fruit. Wouldn't that be easy? His real purpose was not to save Wu Quan and the others, but to use these people as a pretense to lure the tigers away from the mountains and mobilize more than half of the alien guards in the tribe. In this way, they could sneak into the headquarters of the 5 major races. Without a large number of guards, the encampment of the 5 major races would be like a naked beauty that could be admired at will. I didn't expect that group of aliens to really fall for it. Tu Linglong was very speechless. The group of aliens was simply fooled by Xia Ping. They probably didn't even know what had happened before their own nest was wiped out. If the group of aliens knew about this, they would probably fly into a rage and be so angry that their lungs would explode. Of course, the group of human captives would undoubtedly be extremely unlucky, and they would be torn to pieces by the furious aliens. However, these bad humans wouldn't care. In any case, there was enmity between the 2 sides, and they had long regarded each other as pawns that could be used. If we can get the 5 elements spirit fruit, we can advance to the king realm. Qing Wang clenched her pink fist. They came into the secret realm this time for the sake of getting the 5 elements spirit fruit. As for the method to obtain the 5 elements spirit fruit, no one cared at all. All they wanted was the result. If they didn't get it, they would probably die of old age in this secret realm for the rest of their lives, and they might even die under the pursuit of the 5 major races. The eyes of the other monsters flickered. The reason why they did their best to help Xia Ping was not only because they were threatened by Xia Ping, but also because they found hope to get the 5 elements spirit fruit. If it weren't for Xia Ping, they might only be able to look at the city and sigh helplessly. In short, don't leave any traces these days. Maintain an offensive posture and confuse these aliens. Let them think that we are really going to attack their temporary camp. Xia Ping said with a smile. In the evening 3 days later, when all their elites come out, we will kill our way to the headquarters of this group of aliens and completely get the 5 elements spirit fruit. His heart was surging with excitement. He had finally come to the last step. If he could get the 5 elements spirit fruit, then this trip to the secret realm would be completely successful. Moreover, once he could advance to the king realm, it would be a meteoric rise. Even in the universe, he would have a trace of the ability to gain a foothold. At least, he could be regarded as cannon fodder. The 3 old human grandmasters also clenched their fists. They had lived for hundreds of years and had been trapped in the bottleneck of the Grandmaster Peak. Now that they had finally seen a trace of hope to break through, they would never give up. Yes, big brother. The surrounding monsters all nodded. They also knew that this matter was very important. If there was a trace of mistake, their many days of effort might be considered wasted. Chapter 998. 3 days later, it was a dark and windy night. It was very quiet in the temporary camp of the 5 major races. Many elite soldiers were lying in ambush in the dark, suppressing their breaths. The atmosphere was filled with killing intent. At this moment, in the headquarters of the camp, all the elders were gathered together. Their expressions were very relaxed. Not as nervous as the soldiers because they were confident of victory. In order to deal with Xia Ping and the others, they informed their clans and sent a large number of elite soldiers over. It could be said that the elite troops of the 5 major races had gathered here. No matter how many helpers that human had, they would not be a match for the 5 major races. When will that human attack? The drought monkey elder felt that he was a little impatient. He really wanted to see that human's shocked and despairing expression. Don't be anxious. I heard that they will attack at 3 or 4 in the morning. This is the time when we are the most relaxed. The machinery elder revealed a look of planning. This human is really cunning. He knows to choose this time to attack. The rock giant elder sneered. However, he did not expect that we have prepared a big gift for that human. I hope that he will not wet his pants later. He clenched his rock-like fists and cracked them. Soon it will be the death of that human. He has been fooling us for so long. Tonight will be the end of it. The Blackwood elder was filled with killing intent. He had waited long enough to kill that human. Even though he was a very patient creature, he could not stand this brat jumping around. The slime elder did not say anything and continued to quietly stand at the side. The elders of the 5 major races were all very excited. They chatted while drinking tea. The atmosphere was very relaxed and joyful. They were waiting for Xia Ping and the others to appear, waiting for this group of humans and demons to walk into the trap. Wu Quan and the other human grandmasters were also quietly waiting in the camp of the captives. Although they were also beaten to the point of death, there was still a trace of hope in their hearts. They hoped that Xia Ping could save them, and save them from this abyss of suffering. However, their waiting was probably in vain. Xia Ping and the others had already silently appeared in the city of the 5 major races thousands of miles away. They arrived at the top of a mountain outside the city. So this is the city of the 5 major races? It's really huge. Xia Ping stood at the top of the mountain and looked down at the city that the 5 races had built together. He saw that the city was surrounded by a huge wall that was hundreds of meters tall and incomparably thick. Even if a missile were to hit the city wall, it would not be damaged at all. This was all the work of the rock giants. Although there were no enemies in this secret realm, they instinctively built an extremely huge wall. It was like a giant dragon entrenched on the ground, stretching for more than 10 kilometers. We've already investigated this city. Although the 5 major races live in the same city, the fact is that the city is divided into 5 major regions. Qing Wan said solemnly. Xia Ping also nodded. Even though it was night time, with the power of the golden crow's eye, it was as bright as day. He could clearly see the layout of the city. This city was divided into 5 major regions. One region was filled with hundreds of volcanoes. These volcanoes gathered together as if forming a tribe. Densely packed houses were built on top of the volcanoes. This was probably the territory of the Drought Devil race. One region was a huge lake that stretched as far as the eye could see. It seemed that many slimes lived in the depths of the lake. Countless houses were built under the lake. Next to the lake was another region. It was a huge forest, lush and green. Countless ancient trees grew on the land. However, the atmosphere of this forest was very strange. The sky was filled with a dark aura. The soil on the ground was black, like a swamp. This was probably the territory of the Blackwood race. There was also a huge region near the city wall. It was surrounded by stone mountains. Not even a blade of grass grew there. There were also many stone houses built there. Many rock giants came and went. The remaining region was the territory of the mechanical race. This territory was very shocking. It was unknown where they dug out a lot of metal from and built a large number of metal houses. It looked very sci-fi. The entire territory was filled with metal chi. It was not suitable for humans to live in. It was as if the air here was filled with the smell of metal. If one stayed here for a long time, their body would turn into metal. Unfortunately, the technology of their race had long been broken. Or rather, it was completely destroyed by the ancient demon race. Therefore, their technology was still in the feudal era. They could only create cold weapons. But where are the 5 element spirit fruits? Xiaoping was only concerned about this. The green phoenix pointed to the front. There in the center of the 5 regions, there are 5 divine trees. They are magical plants that all 5 races worship together. The 5 elements spirit fruits grow on these divine trees. In the center of the 5 regions, there was a vast empty space. There were 5 divine trees that were 100 meters tall. They emitted a 5-colored light that intertwined with each other. They were planted in different positions, forming a 5 elements formation. The energy of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth were emitted. They fused with each other and resonated with heaven and earth. It was as if there was a huge energy barrier enveloping this region. It was like a holy land, not allowing anyone to enter. Amazing! Are these 5 divine trees the trees that grow the 5 elements spirit fruits? I wonder if they can be uprooted? Xiaoping touched his chin and revealed a dangerous light. Uprooted? The green phoenix looked at Xiaoping speechlessly. This bastard was simply a bandit. He wanted to snatch anything good he saw. Previously, the home of the Shark Demon King was completely emptied by this bastard. It was said that there was also a spirit tree there, but it was also uprooted by this bastard. It was like plucking the feathers of a goose. You are simply a Taodai. Tu Linglong glowered at Xiaoping. What's the point of uprooting them? Only the beings of the 5 major races can nurture these 5 divine trees. Even if others uproot them, they'll only be able to obtain an ordinary tree that will quickly wither, so it's not worth it. If the 5 element spirit trees could be uprooted, countless races in the universe would want to transplant them and grow the 5 element spirit fruits. However, only the creatures of the 5 races could cultivate the spirit trees. That may not be the case. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He had a supreme extraordinary flame like the flame of life. It was said to be able to replenish all life energy and promote the growth of countless spirit herbs. Even the 5 elements spirit trees were no exception. If he could transplant these trees and place them in the human world, wouldn't he be able to produce the 5 elements spirit fruits in batches and continuously produce king realm cultivators? Chapter 999. Forget it, don't talk about this. Let's think about how to get in. Cyan Luan looked at the bandit angrily. She didn't want to say anything to this human bandit. Anyway, plunder had been integrated into his blood, and no one could stop it. This is a small matter. Now that most of the elite soldiers have left, the inside is very empty. It should be easy for us to get in. Xiaoping touched his chin and felt that this was not a big problem. Cyan Luan waved her hand. Then let's go. Don't waste time here. Otherwise, if we are discovered by those aliens, they may quickly come back to support us. We must finish this quickly. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. As soon as she said that, Xiaoping and the others immediately moved. They separated into different directions and landed from the mountain peak. They quickly approached the huge city and came to the vicinity of the hundreds of meters high city wall. The guards around the city wall were all rock giants. They chatted on the city wall and didn't notice the situation around them. This was because this secret realm had been peaceful for a long time, and there were no special enemies. It could be said that the monsters of Wanyao Mountain had not come here for training for over 1,000 years. The giant cities of the 5 major races had never been invaded by enemies. Therefore, the guards of the rock giants had long been extremely relaxed. Every day, they would just chat casually, as if they were civil servants going to work. It was just a routine job. Plus, the bodies of Xiaoping and the others were too small for the rock giants. They were like flies. Under the cover of the night, it was normal that they couldn't find them. After a few breaths, Xiaoping and the others quickly entered the city, while the rock giants weren't paying attention. They were silent, as if they had merged into the night sky. They ran all the way, carefully avoiding the aliens in the city and trying to avoid conflicts. If they could take the 5 elements spirit fruit without alerting anyone, that would be the best thing. Just like this, after running for half an hour, Xiaoping and the others finally approached the central area of the huge city. I can't get in. After approaching the central area, Xiaoping immediately found that this area was surrounded by a huge energy shield. It was like an eggshell covering all directions. There was no gap at all. If anyone wanted to pass through this energy shield, they would definitely be discovered by the guards here. I can't find any gap. The green one also circled this place, but she couldn't find any flaws. It seemed that this central area had been set up with a 5 elements array. The 5 energies of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth formed a cycle, condensing into a huge domain, isolating the space outside. Many demons frowned as well. Originally, they wanted to enter silently, but from the looks of it, things were not that simple. The 5 races still valued the protection of this sacred land very much. Even if all the elites were dispatched, this holy land was not a place that ordinary people could enter. There's no other way. Let's just attack. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. Since they were already here, it was impossible for them to give up. Moreover, this was also the most vulnerable state of the 5 races. If they missed this opportunity, they might not get another one. All right, many demons nodded as well. They knew that this was the best solution. Whoosh! After making his decision, Xiaoping immediately arrived at the entrance of the Holy Land. At that moment, the guards at the entrance were still yawning. Because this place had been peaceful for too long, no one dared to invade, and they had long since gotten used to it. Their daily routine was to wait until they got off work. 3 days to dry their nets, 2 days to fish. Who's there? But no matter what, they were all elites selected by the 5 races. Each of them had at least the strength of the Supreme Power Realm 7th Heaven or above. They were extremely sensitive to danger, and instantly noticed Xiaoping and the others at the entrance. Damn it! Xiaoping replied casually. My lord died a long time ago. How could he be here? The slime guard replied in a daze. Stupid, this is an intruder. He's a human. A drought demon clan guard shouted. It looked at Xiaoping and the demons behind him in shock, and its hair suddenly stood on end. It knew that these humans definitely did not appear in the Holy Land to treat them to a meal. As the saying went, those with good intentions did not come, and those who came did not come with good intentions. Even if it had never heard of such a saying, it knew that it was similar. Damn it, how could a human appear in this place? This is the human Xiaoping. His portrait has long been all over the city. I can recognize him even if he turns into ashes. It can't be. Shouldn't Xiaoping still be confronting the elders? It is said that he is planning to go to war with a large number of elites. Why did this human come to our holy land now? Yes, it's unreasonable at all. Does he have a doppelganger skill? The guards present were dumbfounded. They still did not know what had happened until now. Their territory had been invaded silently. They had never experienced such a thing. Attack. Xiaoping immediately gave the order to attack these guards while they were in a daze. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 3 human grandmasters, Green Phoenix, Tu Linglong, Crow of Misfortune, and other demons also did not hesitate. They attacked from all directions and immediately surrounded the group of guards. They did not hesitate and used all their strength. Dong, dong, dong. In an instant, dozens of aliens guarding the entrance of the Holy Land were struck by lightning. They were knocked to the ground, foamed at the mouth, and directly passed out. The ground trembled, and the huge force caused dozens of cracks to appear on the ground. Like lightning, the cracks kept zigzagging and extending into the distance. Clang, clang, clang. However, this invasion was discovered by the guards in the Holy Land. They quickly rang the bell for help. In an instant, the bell resounded through the quiet night sky. The crisp sound of the bell reverberated in every corner of the Holy Land. Immediately, the guards of the 5 major clans who were still around the city woke up one by one. What the hell is going on? Why is the bell for help ringing? This sound hasn't been rung for thousands of years. Why is it ringing now? It's the Holy Land. There's a big problem at the Holy Land. The guards of the Holy Land are calling for help. Damn it! Which thief dares to invade the Holy Land of the 5 major clans? Are they courting death? It must be the humans and those demons. Who else would dare to invade the Holy Land for no reason except them? Hurry up and go to help, or our holy land will be finished. The expressions of the guards and elders of the 5 major clans changed drastically. They knew the importance of the Holy Land. They could not afford to lose the 5 elements spiritual tree. Once it was destroyed by these invaders, it would be an earth-shattering disaster. However, they were scattered in every corner of the city, and there was still a long way to go from the Holy Land. It would take a certain amount of time to get there. Chapter 1000. Whoosh! Xiaoping and the others rushed into the sacred land and immediately felt the rich power of the 5 elements in the area. The 5 energies of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth were constantly flowing. It was as if this place had become a treasure land for cultivation. If they cultivated here, they would probably be several times faster than in ordinary places. These divine trees can not only grow 5 element spirit fruits, but they can also form a sacred land for cultivation? It's truly miraculous. The 3 grandmasters sighed with emotion. Their hearts were very moved. If they could uproot these 5 divine trees and transplant them back to the human world, then humans would be rich. Unfortunately, without the nurturing of the 5 races, these 5 divine trees would not be able to survive. Interesting. Xiaoping touched his chin and looked at the 5 divine trees planted on the ground. They happened to be in 5 different directions, like a pentagram array. They emitted colorful light, which was very magical. It seemed that every branch and every leaf was filled with rich energy of the 5 elements. A slight breath could make people feel refreshed, and their Dantian sea of qi would tremble. Their roots were deeply rooted in the ground, and no one knew how far they extended. They only knew that the thick roots were exposed on the ground, like an earth dragon crawling on the ground. It was very oppressive. Look, those are 5 element spirit fruits. Tu Linglong immediately noticed that there were 7 or 8 spirit fruits hanging on the divine tree. It was not just one divine tree. Basically, there were 7 or 8 spirit fruits on each divine tree. They were wood spirit fruit, water spirit fruit, earth spirit fruit, fire spirit fruit, and metal spirit fruit. They had an inexplicable connection with each other. It seemed that these divine trees maintained a uniform height, and the number of spirit fruits growing on them was the same. However, these spirit fruits hanging on the branches were emitting a faint white light. They looked very small, as if they were not fully ripe yet. These spirit fruits are not ripe yet. The 3 old masters immediately knew that the spirit fruits hanging on the trees were not ripe yet. Perhaps because of this, the higher-ups of the 5 races were worried that they would damage the medicinal properties of the spirit fruits, so they did not pluck them and let them grow freely. Otherwise, the mature fruits would have been plucked by the higher-ups of the 5 races and eaten by themselves. It would not have been Xiaoping's turn to pluck them. This is troublesome. Will an unripe 5 elemental spirit fruit have enough medicinal power for us to advance to the king realm? The crow of misfortune and the other monsters couldn't help but have the same doubts. They knew that the 5 element spirit fruit was extremely powerful, but that was only in its matured state. The difference between an unripe fruit and a ripe fruit was like the difference between heaven and earth. The problem was that they didn't have time to wait for these spirit fruits to ripen. No one knew what would happen the next time they came to this place. Perhaps they wouldn't even be able to enter at that time. Even if they were lucky enough to enter, they would be ambushed by the army and die without a burial. For a moment, they felt that they had miscalculated. Perhaps they were just doing useless things tonight. They had only come to this holy land to visit, and they would probably have to go back soon. Not mature yet? That's not a big problem. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He could use his life force to accelerate the ripening of these 5 divine trees and speed up the growth of the 5 elements spirit fruits. However, he didn't say it out loud. He had his own plans. Intruders, it's time for you to die. How dare you invade the sacred land of our 5 great races? How audacious of you! Go to hell. No matter what your purpose is, only death awaits those who invade our holy land. All of a sudden, a loud shout came from the depths of the Holy Land. Many highest elders who had been cultivating in this holy land were awakened by the actions of Xiaoping and the others. They woke up from their closed-door cultivation one after another. These highest elders were all at the peak of the 9th stage of the supreme power realm. They were only one step away from advancing to the king realm. However, because of the suppression of the rules of this secret land, it was more difficult for them to advance to the king realm than ordinary people. If they didn't have peerless talent and consume a large number of resources, they would be trapped in the supreme power realm until they died of old age. Even so, they were a group of old men who had been immersed in the supreme power realm for hundreds of years. They had long cultivated all kinds of martial arts to a superb level, which was extremely terrifying. Oh no, there are so many old men in this place. The crow of misfortune's pupil shrank. It saw 7 or 8 old men rushing out from the depths of the Holy Land. Every old man was very powerful. Fortunately, this was a secret land, which suppressed their cultivation. If they were in the outside world, there would probably be 7 or 8 kings. Rumble! In an instant an old black tree attacked. This was the highest elder of the Blackwood tribe. It was withered and old, and it exuded an aura of lethargy. It seemed like it had lived for hundreds of years, and its branches looked like they were about to break. However, with the support of the earth energy on its body, it was like a sharp sword. It tore through the air and attacked Xiaoping and the others. Once they were pierced, countless bloody holes would immediately appear on their bodies. It was impossible for them to survive. Get lost. Xiaoping stepped forward and kicked without even looking. An incomparably huge footprint was formed in the air. It was like a giant had descended and trampled on the ground. At this moment, he activated the power of the vortex. It had an extremely strong penetrating force and was extremely fast. It bombarded the old black tree. Bang! 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 Immediately, the black branches were shattered. The air rotated and twisted crazily. The terrifying force seeped into the body of the old black tree and continuously destroyed it. Damn it! The first elder of the Blackwood tribe couldn't bear such a terrifying force. His whole body was sent flying. Hundreds of branches on his body cracked, broke, and fell to the ground. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. However, it was not red but green. It fell to the ground, making a sizzling sound and corroding the ground. A deep gully of hundreds of meters long was suddenly formed on the ground by his body. He fell to the ground, gasping for breath. Obviously, he had lost half of his life. He's too fierce. Tu Linglong and the other monsters were stunned. Xiaoping wasn't so terrifying before. But after such a short period of time, he had become even more terrifying than before. He has advanced to the 8th sky of Supreme Master. The 3 old human masters were stunned. They knew that Xiaoping was only at the 6th sky of Supreme Master before. But now he had advanced to the 8th sky of Supreme Master. It was almost like drinking water for him to break through. This freak didn't need the 5 elements spirit fruit. If he cultivated by himself, it wouldn't take long for him to advance to the king realm. He was obviously a genius, but he still competed with mortals for resources. This was a bit too much. Chapter 1001. Damn it! This is the human Xiaoping who has caused such a commotion. Kill him. Let's kill him in the Holy Land. You refused to take the path to heaven and barged into hell. Today is the day you die, human. Seeing Xiaoping beat the Blackwood race's supreme elder half to death with just one move, the supreme elders of the 5 races were all shocked. They also recognized Xiaoping's appearance. Although they were usually in seclusion in the Holy Land, they were always paying attention to what was happening in their races. They knew all kinds of important information. Naturally, news of Xiaoping would also appear in front of them. This was the #1 enemy of the 5 races in recent days. In an instant, a terrifying killing intent was ignited in their hearts. They wanted to completely destroy this human, who had turned the 5 races upside down. They wanted to eradicate this super scourge. Kill. The first to attack was the Drought race's supreme elder. He was like a zombie with black flames all over his body. He was covered in thick fur and revealed ferocious fangs that emitted a cold light. His hands had sharp nails that were like divine weapons. With a light slash, he could create terrifying sword chi that could cut the earth and tear apart mountains. In an instant, His entire body was like a flaming cannonball that attacked. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly. Even the air seemed to be burning. This kind of flame was the drought demon fire. Once it touched an enemy, it could quickly evaporate the enemy's blood and turn them into a dry corpse in a few breaths. Die! The rock giant Supreme Elder also attacked. He was 200 to 300 meters tall and towered into the clouds. He was like a mountain, and his muscles were all made of red rocks. These were volcanic rocks that were forged from the depths of volcanoes after tens of thousands of years of molten lava. Even swords that could cut iron like mud couldn't harm his body at all. This was actually the rock giant's cultivation method. The more precious and powerful the ore they devoured, the more they could absorb it and fuse it into their bodies, making them even stronger. Without a doubt, this rock giant Supreme Elder had also found a special type of rock. After devouring it, he became extremely powerful among the rock giant race. Die! The great elder of the automaton race's azure eyes flashed with an electronic light. It was cold and emotionless, as if there were countless numbers flowing through its mind, constantly calculating. It was a liquid robot, and its entire body was condensed from a special metallic liquid. It could change into different shapes, and with a clang, dozens of sharp blades immediately appeared on its body. These blades were extremely sharp, capable of slicing through iron like mud. At this moment, they vibrated at high speed, like a metal storm, attacking towards Xiaoping, wanting to completely kill this human. Not to mention a body of flesh and blood, even a body of metal would not be able to withstand the attack of such a sharp blade. Kill! The slime great elder also took action. Its outer appearance was like a rubber ball. Its entire body formed from a green liquid. It was like a gelatinous substance full of elasticity, able to change into all types of shapes. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a green viper and shot out from its original location. It reached several times the speed of sound and opened its sharp fangs to pierce through Xiaoping's body. In midair, only a green light shot out. Ordinary grandmasters could not react in time. These 7 great elders attacked at the same time with infinite power. The Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters all felt their hair stand on end. They felt that they were facing a desperate situation and could not resist at all. It could be said that even if a cultivator at the peak of the 9th heaven of the Supreme Realm was at the same level as these great elders who had lived for hundreds of years, there was still a huge gap between them. It could be said that they had already stepped into the half-step king realm and had a trace of opening up the purple palace. Fireball bomb. Xiaoping's eyes were calm. He turned his hand, and the 99 acupoints in his body trembled. The majestic flame energy all gathered on his right hand, quickly condensing into a black fireball, like a whirlpool, slowly rotating. Whoosh! 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 Without looking, he threw out the black fireballs one by one. In just a few breaths, dozens of black fireballs appeared in midair. These black fireballs were the size of rubber balls, covering the sky and covering the earth. They kept rotating, almost occupying the sky, blocking all the way out of the 7 great elders. Explode! Xiaoping clenched his hand and immediately detonated these fireball bombs. Suddenly an earth-shattering power burst out, like a miniature nuclear bomb exploding, spreading for several miles. When the monsters around saw this, they all dodged in advance. They had seen the horror of the fireball bomb. When Xiaoping had just entered the Supreme Power Realm, such a fireball bomb was enough to kill a group of Supreme Power Realm masters. Now that Xiaoping had been promoted to the 8th heaven of the Supreme Realm, he also had the essence of the sun, the fire of life, and the earth spirit fire. He had also cultivated the sun god fist, which had increased the power of the fire to an unprecedented level. Therefore, when such fireball bombs exploded, they burst out with a destructive power that swept across the area. In just an instant, a huge pit with a diameter of hundreds of meters immediately exploded on the ground. The soil splashed, and the air condensed into a substance, sweeping in all directions like wind blades. There were also hundreds of shocking cracks on the ground, which was extremely terrifying. The 7 great elders who bore the brunt of the attack immediately let out a shrill scream. First, the two great elders of the Drought Demon clan were completely burnt black, like a piece of coal. They were blown thousands of meters away by the power of the explosion, and finally smashed on a huge rock, falling to the ground. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. The two great elders of the Machine clan were also blown up, and dazzling sparks burst out from the broken parts, as if there was a mechanical failure. The extremely hot flames were still burning on their bodies, melting a lot of steel. The two great elders of the rock giant were also in an extremely miserable state. Originally, their extremely hard bodies were made of volcanic stones, and ordinary lava could do nothing to them. However, under the might of the three worldly flames, they were unable to withstand it. The rocks were scorched until they cracked and crackled. There were even some parts of them that were melted into magma. Panting heavily, they were already heavily injured. As for the great elder of the slime, his whole body had been blown to pieces, turning into a mass of liquid that was distributed in every corner of the ground, but he was still alive. It seemed that under the guidance of a certain core, this body also quickly gathered together and returned to its original state. Compared to the other great elders, his situation was undoubtedly the best. He's still alive? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He saw that the great elder of the slime was a little unusual. This body was like an immortal body, which was the biggest trouble. He could not be killed by ordinary means. Even if he was blown to pieces, he could quickly gather together, which was indeed amazing. He deserved to be one of the races in the universe. Chapter 1002. At this moment, outside the Holy Land, many guards of the 5 clans stood still. They watched in horror as 7 or 8 supreme elders were half crippled, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. After all, they were the strongest guards in the city. Each of them could fight against 10 people, but now they couldn't even defeat a single person. This was too exaggerated. How could this be? This is a supreme elder, who has lived for hundreds of years, and can be said to be a half-step king realm expert. He's a powerful existence second only to the patriarch, but now he's actually been beaten to such a state by a little human. A Drought Demon clan guard couldn't believe his eyes. He felt that his worldview had been overturned. If Xiaoping was a king, he wouldn't be surprised that the Supreme Elder was defeated. However, Xiaoping was only at the 8th heaven of the Supreme Realm, and he was no match for the Supreme Elder. Where are the reinforcements? Where are our reinforcements? Why haven't they come out when they heard the bell for help? Are they waiting for these invaders to pick all our holy fruits before coming out? A rock giant guard shouted. Currently there were only a few of them, and they couldn't form a large force at all. If they swarmed over, they would definitely be beaten to death. After all, even 8 supreme elders had been killed by a single person. Even if they went up, it would be useless. It was no different from courting death. They've all been called out by the elders. It's said that they plan to besiege that human Xiaoping. Besiege my ass. That human has come to our city, and he still plans to besiege us? Are they planning to besiege the air? Is there something wrong with their heads? They've been tricked by that human, and that's why our city guards are empty. Where's the patriarch? Where's the patriarch? With the patriarch's help, these invaders will definitely die. Yes, the patriarch is an expert at the king realm. Once these invaders encounter him, they'll definitely die without a burial place. The patriarch and the others have gone to build the ancestral altar a long time ago. It's an important moment now, and they have to keep an eye on it at all times. How can they have the time to come back here? Even if we inform the patriarch and the others now, distant water can't quench the present thirst. Damn it, can we only watch this bastard human do whatever he wants? Many of the guards gnashed their teeth in anger. To them, this was simply an enormous humiliation. Their sacred territory had been stepped into by these intruders, and they'd even trampled on it as they pleased. Moreover, they'd even beaten their supreme elder half to death. It had been many years since they had suffered such a great loss. However, the difference in combat power between the two sides was too great. Even if they wanted to drive these invaders out, they were powerless. They could only look on helplessly, not daring to act rashly. Great. All of a sudden, A drought demon tribe guard's face lit up with joy. He seemed to have sensed something and shouted, "Our drought demon tribe's patriarch is coming back. He's nearby. I can sense his aura." The members of the drought devil tribe all had a unique connection with each other. That was especially true of the tribe leader. As long as they were within a 50-kilometer radius of the leader, they would be able to communicate with each other. That was the stirring of their bloodlines. What's going on? Wasn't it said that the patriarchs and the others were all constructing the ancestral altar? A guard asked. The drought demon tribe guard shook his head. I don't know. Perhaps the patriarch suddenly came back for something. In any case, now that the patriarch is back, these invaders are dead for sure. He was extremely excited, as if he could already see these despicable invaders being annihilated by the patriarch. Roar! At that moment, an earth-shattering roar came from a 50-kilometer away. It was like the roar of a ferocious beast in the forest. It contained terrifying sound waves that spread in all directions, affecting the entire city. All living beings who heard this sound unconsciously shuddered, as if they had fallen into an icy cavern. It was as if they had encountered an undefeatable existence. This was the rage of a king. When a common man raged, blood would splatter everywhere. When a king raged, corpses would lie for thousands of kilometers. At that moment, the crow of misfortune and the other monsters in the sacred land heard this sound as well. They instantly felt a terrifying sense of danger, as if they had been targeted by the god of death. Oh no, a king is coming! The green one's expression changed. Her divine beast bloodline gave her an extremely strong sense of danger. She immediately knew that an almost undefeatable enemy was coming. Damn it, why are they back so quickly? Didn't they say that these kings were building the ancestral altar? Anyway, something must have happened, and one of the kings came back. We can't stay here any longer. We need to escape. Otherwise, if we are caught by the kings, we will definitely die. But what about the 5 elements spiritual fruit? We went through so much to get here. Are we going to give it up? We can only give it up for now. After all, the 5 elements spiritual fruit isn't ripe yet. There's no point in picking it. Yeah, our lives are more important. We can't stay here and waste time. Otherwise, we won't get the 5 elements spiritual fruit, and will die in the hands of a king. Instantly, the crow of misfortune and the other monsters' expressions changed drastically. They also felt a great sense of danger. If they continued to stay here, they would definitely be killed by the angry king. Xiaoping also felt the oppressive feeling coming from this voice. That voice belonged to a powerful cultivator who had opened up the Purple Palace and was above mortals, even if they were merely cannon fodder in the universe. But in this secret realm, they could be said to be invincible. Whoosh! At this moment, the great slime elder made a move. The strange liquid on its body condensed into dozens of tentacles. Like ropes, it immediately tied up the many great elders who were dying on the ground. In the next second, its entire body shot out of the sacred ground like a cannonball. It also carried the heavily injured supreme elders with it, as it ran faster than a rabbit. It didn't even look back, for fear of being caught by Xiaoping and dying a graveless death. However, Xiaoping didn't care about it or chase after it. He just watched the great elders escape. With such serious injuries, they probably wouldn't be able to recover within 3 months. They wouldn't be able to pose any threat in a short time. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Tu Linglong and the other monsters. You guys run. I'll cover the rear. What? The 3 old human masters, Tu Linglong, and the other monsters all looked at Xiaoping with their mouths agape. It seemed like they couldn't believe their ears. What are you talking about? You'll cover the rear? Are you kidding me? They all felt that the world was coming to an end. This shameless bastard who specialized in harming others for his own benefit actually said that he would cover the rear. If the world wasn't coming to an end, how could this happen? I'm not kidding. I just want to test the strength of a King Realm expert. There are too few opportunities like this. I want to test the strength of the other party. Xiaoping clenched his fists and was eager to have a try. His current strength could be said to be invincible in the Grand Master realm. Ordinary cultivators at the 9th level of the Grand Master realm would be blown up by his punch. However, He still didn't know how much difference there was between him and a cultivator at the Purple Mansion realm. Chapter 1003. Do you want to test the strength of a king warrior? Tu Linglong and the other monsters looked at Xia Ping as if he was a madman. Ordinary masters would tremble in fear when facing a king warrior, not daring to fight back at all. Because the gap between them was too big, it was like the gap between heaven and earth. A king realm expert could kill a large number of supreme power masters effortlessly. But now this guy actually said that he wanted to weigh the strength of a king realm expert. Did this bastard think that he was qualified to compete with a king realm expert just because he had advanced to the 8th heaven of the supreme power realm? If the person in front of them was a demon like Xia Ping, but someone else, they really wanted to cut off that person's head to see if it was full of paste. Xia Ping, don't be impulsive. That's a king warrior. You can't fight him. Yes, you can test the strength of a king warrior. When you return to the human world, you can try it with a human king warrior. But not now. The king warrior will really kill you. That's right. Don't be careless. You only have one life. The 3 human old masters tried their best to dissuade him. They felt that it was a pity for such a good seedling to die in this place. They couldn't let him die in the hands of a king warrior. Senior, don't worry. I have my own plans. Even if I can't beat a king warrior, I have a way to escape. I'm not going to die. Xia Ping smiled slightly. He had a way to escape from a king warrior. Not to mention the many treasures on him. Just the spatial ring on him alone would allow him to hide in the spatial ring if he really couldn't defeat a king. He believed that no matter how powerful the monster king was, he wouldn't be able to find out that he was hiding in the space ring. It could be said that he was in an invincible position and wouldn't be killed by a king warrior. Of course, the most important thing was that he wanted to send this group of people away. If these monsters and the 3 human old masters stayed in this place, how could he steal the 5 sacred trees silently? After all, the information about his space ring couldn't be leaked. It had to be kept secret. Hearing Xia Ping's words, the 3 human old masters nodded in agreement. If it was a demon like Xia Ping, he indeed had endless means. If he just wanted to escape, it was estimated that even a king warrior might not be able to kill this slippery loach. Tu Linglong and the other monsters felt the same way. In terms of life-saving means, it was possible that no monster present could compare to this shameless human. Then we'll be leaving. In any case, you have to be careful. If you find anything amiss, quickly escape. Yeah, don't die here. You have a bright future ahead of you. The 3 grandmasters cupped their hands towards Xia Ping. They were also decisive people. Once they made a decision, there would be no hesitation. After all, a king-tier expert could arrive at any moment. If they were to delay for even a moment, they would most likely face a life-and-death situation. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 human grandmasters, Tu Linglong, and the other demons fled towards the outside of the sacred ground to escape from this dangerous situation. Have they all left? Xia Ping's mental power spread out, sensing a radius of several dozen kilometers. Not even the slightest movement could escape his perception. Sure enough, there were no longer any living beings in the surroundings. All right, let's begin. Since there was no one around to hinder him, Xia Ping began to let loose. He came before the 5 sacred trees and circulated the energy of the flame of life within his body. Boom! In the next second, wisps of green flames emerged and instantly seeped into the bodies of the 5 sacred trees. Majestic life energy was instilled into them. Immediately, the 5 sacred trees emitted circles of green light and emitted a threatening green color. Their majestic life energy caused the weeds on the ground to grow crazily. Some seeds that were originally buried in the soil also sprouted and blossomed rapidly, saving a lot of time for growth. Rustle, with the replenishment of the flame of life, the 5 sacred trees also started to tremble slightly. Majestic energy was also instilled into the depths of the 5 elements spirit fruits along the veins of the trees. Very quickly, they grew rapidly like balloons. Originally, they were only the size of a walnut, but within a few breaths, They had actually grown to the size of a fist. At the same time, they emitted a 5-colored light. It's a success. Xia Ping's eyes were filled with excitement. He knew that his guess was indeed correct. The flame of life could promote the growth of all things in the world, including the 5 elements spirit trees. Moreover, the 5 elements spirit fruits that were still in a state of immaturity were now ripened by him. As long as he consumed these 5 elements spirit fruits, he might be able to break through to the king tier. Mine, they're all mine. Xia Ping picked all the 5 elements spirit fruits on the branches and put them into his spatial ring. He really wanted to consume the 5 elements spirit fruits right now, but the king tier enemies were about to arrive. If he went into seclusion now, it would simply be no different from courting death. What is this? As the flame of life seeped into the depths of the 5 elements spirit trees, Xia Ping's mental power also seeped in at the same time. He immediately sensed that there was a huge discovery in the depths of the 5 elements spirit trees. There seemed to be a unique space, and this space was filled with darkness everywhere, just like a world of nothingness. However, in the middle of this space there were floating spheres. Some were red fireballs, some were green spheres exuding a green aura of life, some were yellow spheres, some were golden spheres, and some were blue spheres. These spheres were all emitting a faint radiance. At this time Corinne's voice came. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the seed of life of the 5 elements spirit trees. Seed of life? Xia Ping blinked his eyes and looked at Corinne. Yes, it's the seed of life, Corinne said in a deep voice. Heaven and earth wondrous trees like this will definitely condense the seed of life. The so-called seed of life is the essence of these wondrous trees, which is equivalent to a seed. If they encounter a great danger or encounter a survival crisis, they will turn into the seed of life and fall into a deep sleep. Only when they find a suitable environment for survival will they wake up again. It can be said that as long as the seed of life exists, they will continue to regenerate and will not go extinct. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. He understood Corinne's meaning. In other words, if I take these 5 seeds of life, I can take away the 5 elements spirit trees. I don't need to take away the whole tree. Yes, the so-called trunk, roots, branches, leaves, and so on are just skin. Only the seed of life is their most important thing. Corinne nodded. As long as I take away the seed of life, I can transplant the 5 elements spirit trees anywhere. Very good. Xia Ping moved, and with a bang, he immediately pierced through the trunk of the 5 elements spirit tree and directly entered the inner space. He took out the seed of life inside and put it in his spatial ring. Chapter 1004. At this moment, in the temporary camp, the elders of the 5 races had gathered together. They had already waited for several hours, and it was almost daybreak, but Xia Ping and the others still hadn't appeared. What's going on? When did that son of a bitch attack? It's almost daybreak. Do they have any professional ethics? The drought monkey elder gritted his teeth. They had already waited for an entire night, and they were completely focused on any movement outside. Even the slightest movement would cause their nerves to tense up, ready to fight at any time. One could imagine how tiring it was to be on guard like this, and who knew how many cells had died. If it wasn't for the fact that they were worried that the human would attack at any time, they would have already fallen asleep. However, the human didn't seem to have any intention of attacking at all. Up until now, everything had been calm, as if nothing had happened. It was too strange. Could it be that that bastard isn't going to attack tonight? Did we remember the wrong date? The slime elder raised his doubt, wondering if that brat wasn't going to attack tonight. Impossible. The machinery elder firmly denied. You know what happened that day? That spy said that he would attack in 3 days, and tonight is the 3rd night. How could it be wrong? It had a considerable degree of confidence in its memory. But why hasn't that bastard appeared yet? Isn't he afraid that all his human friends will die? If he angers us, we'll slaughter them tonight. The Blackwood elder gritted his teeth, and his killing intent surged. He felt that after meeting that bastard human Xia Ping, his temper had become irritable, and he had vented his anger countless times. That's right, I also feel that this matter is very strange. I have a bad feeling about it. The rock giant nodded. For some reason, he felt a trace of palpitation in his heart, as if something earth-shattering was about to happen. However, after thinking about it carefully, it didn't seem like anything big would happen. Report. Just at this moment, a loud noise came from outside. A dozen rock giant scouts rushed to the camp without stopping. They were burning with anxiety and immediately barged into the temporary camp headquarters. What's going on? The rock giant elder immediately recognized these rock giant scouts. They were clearly the guards of the rock giant's nest. They should be quietly guarding the city, so why would they appear here? The other elders also recognized the identity of these spies. In an instant, they all knew that something big must have happened. Reporting to Elder, please return as soon as possible. That human Xia Ping has led a large group of people to attack our headquarters and infiltrate the Holy Lands in an attempt to snatch the holy fruits. The situation is extremely dangerous. The rock giant scout shouted. What? All the elders present were shocked. They couldn't believe what they had just heard. Weren't this human and his companions waiting outside, waiting to flatten their temporary camp in the early hours of the morning? Why did they suddenly come to their lair, and even plan to enter their holy land to snatch the holy fruit? Is this news true? The mechanical race elder clenched his fists and stared at this scout. It's true. Right now, our headquarters is almost unguarded. It's said that even the Grand Elder couldn't resist, and was beaten half to death by that human. Many of our brothers suffered heavy casualties. The rock giant scout said with tears and snot. You don't know how cruel those humans and monsters are. They smash and loot, treating this place as if it's their home. They fight whenever they see a monster and steal whenever they see something good. If we don't go back now, our city will probably be completely destroyed by these demons. Even the holy fruits will be taken away by them. Not a single hair will be left. He shouted hoarsely. This matter was extremely serious and could not be delayed. Goddamn Xia Ping, I won't forgive you. The drought demon elder roared into the sky. He was so angry that it was as if a dozen volcanoes had erupted. His face was flushed red, and the blood in his body directly rushed to the top of his head. I knew there was something wrong with this bitch. I was wondering why he would attack our temporary camp for no reason. So it was all a scam. The goal was to lure the tiger away from the mountain. They have ulterior motives. Despicable and shameless. In order to deceive us, could it be that Xia Ping doesn't even care about the lives of his human friends? For a bit of money, even blood brothers will kill each other. Now for the holy fruits and to advance to the king realm. What's the big deal about betraying a few human friends? How heartless. Does this human not have any humanity? He even betrayed his best friends of many years. He's simply a demon, and everyone has the right to kill him. What's the point of saying all of this now? We should hurry back and rescue them. If we're a step too late, then perhaps our homes will be emptied out by that demon. I'll absolutely not forgive that human demon. I'll definitely find him and tear him apart. All the elders gnashed their teeth and were furious to the extreme. Being played around by that human was simply the greatest humiliation of their entire lifetimes, and they could only wash it clean with that bastard's blood. All of them were filled with righteous indignation, and their rage was off the charts. If Xia Ping appeared here, then they would probably swarm over him, tear him into pieces, and eat him alive. No, we have to get rid of these human captives first. Since that demon Xia Ping doesn't care, then we'll slaughter all of them. I want him to regret it for the rest of his life, and bear the burden of the sin of killing his friends. I want him to live with guilt, and suffer the torment of his conscience all day and night. The drought demon elder roared furiously, and he vented his rage on these human captives. The machine elder said helplessly, Do you think that human has such a thing as a conscience? If he really had a sense of guilt, then he wouldn't have done such a thing. He felt that even if he killed these human captives, it would be of no use. Even so, I'll still slaughter these humans to vent my anger. The drought demon elder gritted his teeth so hard that blood almost came out. That's right. I feel disgusted just looking at these humans now. Slaughter these humans. We can't let them continue to harm our 5 great races. Let's go over now and kill these useless human captives. What's the point of wasting food here if they're completely useless? Right, let's kill them immediately. All the elders present agreed. Since these humans were of no use, then they should just kill them all. Otherwise, if these humans were left alive, they would simply be ticking time bombs. No one knew when they would explode. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chapter 1005. What's going on? Wu Quan and the others were originally in their cells, quietly waiting for Xia Ping and the others to attack. They wanted to rest and recuperate while they were at it, and they wanted to recover a portion of their combat strength. Even though they didn't have much hope, they still had a trace of hope that Xia Ping would suddenly find his conscience and save them. But after waiting for more than half the night, there was still no movement. Their hearts sank more and more. Now that they saw a group of aliens rushing over angrily, they knew that the situation was bad. That slut Xia must have done something to incur the wrath of this group of aliens. Kill them all. As soon as they arrived, the drought demon elder gave the order with a murderous aura. Yes, elder. Many axemen stepped forward with a cold glint in their eyes. They wanted to chop off the heads of these humans. Wait! Wu Quan instantly became anxious. Out of instinct to survive, he couldn't help but shout. Sir, may I ask what exactly happened? Why do you want to kill us? Please give us a reason. Even if we die, we want to die knowing why. We don't want to die unjustly. He was burning with anxiety, and he wanted to stop the aliens from attacking. Why do we want to kill you? The drought hag elder sneered. Your friend has made a good plan. He used you as bait and fooled us like fools, creating a diversion. In the end, he didn't come to save you. Instead, he went to our city and killed his way into the sacred grounds to seize the holy fruits. Now that kid isn't threatened by anything. In other words, you're useless. If I don't kill you, do you think I'll keep you alive for the new year? Despicable. Wu Quan, Lu Shan, Ren Haodan, and the others cursed in their hearts. They finally understood Xia Ping's plan. That bastard didn't want to save them at all. He was just using them as weapons. He used them as bait to temporarily stabilize the group of monsters here. In the end, the enemy's rear was empty, and that bastard could take advantage of the situation to seize the 5 elements spirit fruits. This was truly a good plan. Bastard. At this moment, Wu Quan and the others were filled with envy to the point their intestines had turned green. They were completely able to imagine how happy that kid was. Seizing the spirit fruits of the 5 elements, and having the opportunity to step into the king realm, would allow him to soar into the sky, and attain a meteoric rise in the future. But what about them? They didn't even get a fart. They got all the benefits. Now he had fallen into the hands of this group of aliens, and was being tortured. They even vented their anger on him, and wanted to kill him. How could they accept such an outcome? Wait, please don't kill us. Lu Shan shouted. Actually, we are still very useful. Don't you want to capture Xia Ping and kill him? If you can spare our lives, we are willing to assist you in killing that bitch. For the sake of his own life, he decided to surrender to this group of aliens. Help from within. The elder of the Drought Hag tribe smiled insincerely. I really don't dare to accept your surrender. Who doesn't know that you humans are full of tricks and cunning? What if you plot against us in secret? I'm afraid that even if you sold us, we would still be counting the money for you. It did not believe the words of LV Shan and the others at all. It felt that these people must be up to something bad. No, you must believe us. That's right. That bitch Xia Ping disregarded benevolence and morality for his own future. He has no conscience. We have long cut off our friendship with him. We cannot live under the same sky as him. If we are talking about killing that bitch Xia Ping, our feelings are not any lower than yours. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Don't you understand this principle? Moreover, we are humans. Humans are the most familiar with humans. We know that brat's movement patterns. If we help, that brat won't be able to escape even if he has wings. That's right. Without our help, it will be very difficult for you to kill him. Didn't you prove this earlier? Wu Quan, LV Shan, Ren Haodan, and the others all begged for mercy. They said that they were still useful. They could betray them and plot against Xia Ping in secret. They would definitely do their best to kill him. It could be said that their hatred for Xiaoping was monstrous. Hearing these words, the elders present looked at each other. They also felt that what these humans said made sense. If they had the help of these human spies, it would be easy to capture Xiaoping. Mechanic Elder, what do you think? Many elders looked at the Mechanic Elder. It was the brains of this group of elders. Its words were very reasonable. The surrounding elders all believed in its words. It's not unreasonable. The eyes of the Mechanic Elder flashed. If these humans become our spies and find that brat's whereabouts, then we can work together. That Xiaoping will die for sure. Moreover, they are familiar with Xiaoping's movement patterns. I believe it will be much easier to deal with them. With the help of these human spies, I believe it will be twice the result with half the effort. The only problem is, are they really loyal? If they betray us, how will we deal with it? It pointed out the key problem. This is not a big problem. The Blackwood race elder said darkly. My Blackwood race has a secret technique, called the bone-drilling heart-devouring technique. We use the special energy of our Blackwood race to implant it into their bodies. This way, their life and death will be in our control. If they dare to betray us, we will immediately activate this secret technique and kill them immediately. Even if a king comes personally, they won't be able to save them in time. What? The expressions of LV Shan and the others changed drastically. If they were really affected by this secret technique, then their life and death would really be in the hands of the other party. It would be no different from being slaves. However, they had no choice but to lower their heads. Facing this pressure of life and death, only death would await them if they did not agree. They would not be able to resist at all. Not bad, that's a good idea. Let's do that. I believe that once they are affected by this secret technique, they won't be able to resist. If they dare to resist, we will immediately kill them. In the future, you must serve our 5 races well. Do not have any disloyalty, or I will make you wish you were dead. The elders present all nodded. If they had a secret technique to control these humans, they would not have to worry about them betraying them and turning against them at the crucial moment. Alright, enough with the nonsense. Let's control this group of humans first. The Blackwood race elder's expression was sinister. He immediately used a secret technique on LV Shan and the others, controlling them in his palm. At this moment, Xiaoping quickly placed the 5 seeds of life into his space ring. After taking away the most precious treasures here, he had no reason to stay here. He wanted to quickly escape. However, at this moment, an extremely terrifying aura came from outside. The ground trembled, and with a boom, a figure appeared at the entrance of the sacred land. Chapter 1006. The chief of the drought demon tribe, Hange, was 2 meters tall. His entire body was covered in black fur, and he revealed his ferocious fangs. His entire body was surrounded by black flames. It was like a ferocious beast from hell, filled with a murderous aura. The moment it appeared, the surrounding 100 miles were filled with a violent aura that had solidified. It seemed that if one stayed in this environment for a long time, most living beings with weak willpower would fall into madness and lose their rationality, turning into wild beasts that only knew how to kill. This king's drought dagger, the chief of the drought demon tribe, Hange, looked down at Xiaoping with disdain. You are the human who came to my tribe's holy land to make trouble? You want to snatch my clan's holy fruit? How dare you? Have you thought about how you're going to die? Do you want to be steamed or roasted? Choose a way to die. It had already completely treated Xiaoping as a dead man, not giving him any chance at all. Any outsider who dared to trespass into the Holy Land had to die without exception. Drought Demon Tribe Patriarch Hange. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. Is there any other way to die, like dying of old age? I like dying like this. Scram! Hange was so angry that smoke was coming out of his nostrils. This human was really insatiable. He even wanted to die of old age. Who wouldn't want to? This brat was really dreaming. Very quickly, it discovered that the Holy Land was a little different from before. It seemed to not have the rich 5 elements spiritual qi, nor did it feel like it was bathed in divine energy. Wait, where's the 5 elements spiritual tree? Where did the 5 elements spiritual tree of our 5 races go? Why did it disappear? Han Ge was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe his eyes. These 5 divine trees had existed for tens of thousands of years. They had existed ever since the Arcana plane had appeared. The 5 races had long regarded these 5 divine trees as totems, as sacred objects that no one was allowed to profane. But now, all of them had disappeared. One could imagine how shocked it was right now. Its mind was blank. I don't know. Anyway, I was like this when I came in. I also wanted to ask you where you hid the 5 elements spirit tree. Xiaoping spread his hands, showing an innocent look. Bullshit. Han Ge was enraged. How could it believe the words of this human? The 5 elements spirit tree was still fine. It stayed in the sacred ground and nurtured my race's holy fruit. It has been like this for 10,000 years. The moment you arrived, the 5 elements spirit tree disappeared. If this wasn't done by you, who else could it be? Hand over the 5 elements spirit tree immediately, or I'll make you wish you were dead. That was the race's divine tree. Putting aside the fact that it was the spiritual sustenance of countless clansmen and a totem-like existence, just the spirit fruits it produced could allow the clan's experts to continuously break through. This was the best cultivation resource, and he could not afford to lose it. Now that the divine tree had disappeared, one could imagine how mad it was right now. It even wanted to kill Xiaoping. It can't be. Where's our 5 elements spiritual tree? Why did it disappear? Where did he go? At this moment, a group of guards followed Han Ge in. When they saw the empty sacred ground, all of them were dumbfounded. Motherfucker! These bastards want to move our divine tree away because the fruits aren't ripe yet? How immoral! They're harming others without benefiting themselves. What's the point of moving it away? They're not members of the 5 races, so they can't nurture the fruits. Who knows what these bastards are thinking? Maybe they're out of their minds. Damn it, these people aren't humans. They're gluttons. They eat everything and move everything. The guards were so angry that smoke was coming out of their noses. Their hearts were like volcanoes that were about to erupt. When they saw Xiaoping, their eyes were filled with flames of anger. They had never felt this way in their lives. They really wanted to tear Xiaoping, the culprit, into pieces. Even the divine tree was taken away. What else couldn't he take away? A bunch of bandits. Xiaoping shrugged and said, I really didn't do it. You guys won't believe me even if I tell you the truth. What can I do? If you don't believe me, come and beat me to death. He looked like he was asking for a beating. Damn it, this human is too arrogant. I really want to go up and kill him with a punch. Seeing Xiaoping's appearance, the group of guards were so angry that they stomped their feet. They had never seen such an arrogant enemy. His face made it seem as if others owed him millions. Wait until I catch you and torture you for 3 days and 3 nights. Let's see if you still dare to talk to me with this attitude. The patriarch of the drought demon race, Han Ge, was so angry that he laughed. With a boom, he instantly made a move. Immediately, a fist print condensed from black flames appeared in midair. It contained terrifying power. The surrounding air was pushed away, forming a vacuum zone. This is a purple mansion realm cultivator. Xiaoping's pupils contracted. He immediately felt the horror of this punch. It almost sealed the sky and locked the earth. It completely locked the chi on his body. Although it was just a punch, it was like facing the pressure of heaven and earth. Moreover, this wasn't gang chi, but a terrifying fist print condensed from magic power. The attack power increased by more than 10 times. Compared to a grandmaster, it was simply incomparable. This punch smashed on Xiaoping's body. In an instant, the dark north body protection technique on his body circulated, forming a gang chi energy shield like a black hole. Dong! The air vibrated for thousands of times, and there was a terrifying explosive force. It passed through the layers of gang chi shield and directly penetrated into Xiaoping's lungs. So powerful, Xiaoping's body was beaten back again and again. He slid across the ground for hundreds of meters, and an astonishing deep ravine appeared on the ground. The soil splashed everywhere, and the scene was shocking. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of extravasated blood. At this moment, the fire of life in Xiaoping's body was burning like a fire dragon, swimming around the meridians. Suddenly, a wave of life energy spread, and quickly repaired the damaged parts. In just a few breaths, his internal injuries were quickly repaired. But on the surface, it looked very scary. The blood stained his clothes and dyed it red. Some of the blood dripped on the ground and immediately burned. With a sizzling sound, it corroded a small hole. This blood contained the essence of the flame and had an extremely high temperature. Impossible, he actually didn't die. Seeing that Xia Ping just spat out a mouthful of blood and didn't fall to the ground, the patriarch of the drought demon race, Han Ge, couldn't help but widen his eyes. He couldn't believe what he saw. He was a Purple Mansion realm cultivator who had opened up the Purple Mansion and condensed magic power. He was above the Grandmaster. An ordinary Grandmaster could be smashed into meat sauce with one punch. Chapter 1007. Not only was Han Ge, the leader of the Drought Demon tribe, shocked, but the other guards were also stunned. They couldn't believe it. This human was only at the 8th heaven of the Supreme Power Realm. No matter how talented he was, how could he fight against a king? However, just what was going on right now? He had taken a punch from a King Tier's fist, yet he had only coughed up a mouthful of blood. This was too exaggerated. No one would believe such an absurd thing if they told others about it. As expected of a king. Indeed, taking off the universal protective suit and fighting a king was the right choice. Xia Ping's eyes were filled with battle intent. If he were to fight a king while wearing the universal protective suit, he would naturally be unharmed. However, this was meaningless. He didn't just want to survive against a king. More importantly, he wanted to comprehend a king's battle prowess and comprehend the mysteries of a king's power. Such comprehension was indispensable if one wanted to advance into the king realm. Even though relying on the energy of the 5-element spirit fruits might be able to help him break through into the king realm and establish the Violet Palace in one go. But he was only an ordinary king realm expert, and relying on external forces to advance into the Violet Palace realm would more or less have flaws. Only by completely comprehending the profundities of the Violet Palace realm would he be able to establish a solid foundation. After all, his current goal was not as simple as becoming a king. Becoming a king was just a starting point. Becoming a legendary sage was his biggest goal now. Therefore, he yearned to have a life and death battle with a Violet Palace realm cultivator and feel the profundity of magic power during the battle. This is a king realm expert? Looks like he's nothing much. Thinking of this, Xia Ping looked down from above and began to provoke. I don't know if it's because you've been in this enclosed environment for too long that your martial arts level has deteriorated. To be honest, you're the weakest king I've ever seen. If you went out into the outside world, a rookie king like you would probably be slapped to death by a true powerhouse. What? Hearing this, the guards of the 5 major races were so angry that their faces turned pale. These words were like sharp arrows piercing into their hearts, and they were so angry that they stomped their feet. It could be said that this was their greatest pain. They were captured by the ancient demon race from the cosmos to this place, and became caged birds, unable to leave at all. The inheritance of their ancestors had been severed. This also greatly weakened their strength. For them, this was simply a taboo, not something they could bring up at all. But now, this brat actually dared to mention this matter, poking at their sore spot and slapping them in the face. He was simply audacious to the extreme. He was planning on fighting them to the death. The weakest king. Han Ge was so angry that he started laughing. However, everyone could see that his face had turned green. One could imagine how angry he was right now. If an ordinary evolved Jing master had said this, no one would have cared. After all, a single slap from a king was enough to end everything. However, this human had just blocked an attack from a king and was practically unscathed. Who would dare to doubt the words of such a person? He was very convincing. I was just testing you just now. Luckily, I let you live. But now, I want to see how you will resist. Die. Han Ge was infuriated. For the sake of its reputation, it had to kill this damned human no matter what. If not, it would lose all its face and would become a laughingstock for the rest of its life. Boom! In the blink of an eye, it disappeared from where it was, and the next second, It appeared in front of Xia Ping. Its whole body was wrapped in black flames, and it was 30 feet tall. It suddenly punched. Drought Demon Volcano Fist. This was the unique martial arts skill passed down by the Drought Demon tribe. It fully exerted the power of fire in the Drought Demon tribe. When the fist came down, it was like a supervolcanic eruption, with terrifying explosive power and destructive power. Immediately, heat waves rolled within a radius of hundreds of meters. Flames erupted like dozens of volcanoes erupting. Molten lava sprayed from the ground, covering the entire area. In midair, the shadow of the fist was heavy. Each punch was like a volcano pressing down, with terrifying pressure. When it came down, anything would be turned into powder. Dark North Body Protection Skill. Xia Ping immediately operated his body protection skill. The Gang Qi and 99 acupoints erupted at the same time. It was like 99 golden crows of hell were crying. His strength was increasing endlessly. Immediately, a huge Kuan-Peng sprang out from behind his body. It was like a fish jumping out of the sea. The surrounding air also seemed to turn into water, making a rustling sound. A huge black air cover covered his body. With his body as the center, it seemed to form a vortex, sucking in all the light between heaven and earth, turning it into a state of nothingness and darkness. Bang! 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 Hundreds of fist prints of Drought spears smashed on the air cover. It was like hundreds of missiles exploding at the same time. The penetrating power was so strong that it could shatter most hard metals. The ground where Xia Ping stood instantly collapsed, forming a deep pit with a diameter of 1 kilometer. Hundreds of cracks immediately appeared around him, extending continuously. Gravel crackled. Many rocks were shaken into powder. Even its fists contained black flames. This was not an ordinary flame, but the true life fire of the Drought Demon tribe, the fire of Drought Demon. This was also a kind of heavenly flame. The reason why the Drought Demon tribe could dominate the universe was the existence of the fire of Drought Demon in their bodies. When the fire of Drought Demon was raised to the extreme, it could almost become a flame that could evaporate everything, burning everything. What was even more terrifying was that this flame also contained corpse poison, which was the poison in the body of the Drought Demon tribe. This was the poison of destruction, which could kill countless living creatures in the world. Therefore, when the Drought Demon appeared, it not only represented the power of the flame of their tribe, but also the power of the poison in their bodies. They were also a super poisonous creature. In the universe, they were the existence that countless living creatures were terrified of. Once they appeared, they represented destruction, slaughter, death, and despair. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The black flames burned the gang energy cover on Xia Ping's body, making a sizzling sound. At the same time, it also emitted black poisonous gas, trying to invade Xia Ping's lungs and poison him to death. It seemed that even the North Sea's protective art could not withstand such power. It was about to be burned into pieces by the flames. Holes appeared like glass cracking and falling. However, Xia Ping was not nervous at all. His eyes were like light bulbs lighting up. The blow just now made him understand a little bit. I see. This is magic power. Is this the power of a king? Xia Ping felt a great impact from these fist prints. The power of his hell golden crows I was raised to the extreme. He observed Drought Spear's every move, understood the mystery of martial arts in his opponent, and understood almost everything. Chapter 1008. Mana. Xia Ping clenched his fists. He realized that Han Ji's mental energy had already merged with his mana. It had almost condensed into a solid form. When he punched, it immediately gave off an unparalleled pressure. If an ordinary master were to face this punch, they would probably be hit by the strong mental energy before it could even reach their bodies. Their souls would be shaken, and they wouldn't even be scared out of their wits. It was as if Han Ji's punches had already been engraved with his mental energy. Every punch and kick contained a terrifying spiritual will, which multiplied the power of the punches. So that's how it is. No wonder I can't open the Purple Palace, and can't break the mysterious door in the depths of my brain. It's not that my mental energy isn't strong enough, but it's not pure enough. It's not strong enough. Xiaoping suddenly understood. If he wanted to advance to the King realm and open the Purple Palace, he not only needed to train his earth energy, but also his mental energy. Although his soul was extremely strong and far surpassed that of an ordinary master, it was precisely because there was too much soul energy that his mental energy was a bit impure. It was like a rope. If it was separated, it would be weak. If it could be twisted into a rope and cleanse the impurities in his mental energy, then his mental energy would definitely reach a higher level. It was like a piece of pig iron that could be forged into steel after being tempered thousands of times. It would be invincible. At that time, opening the Purple Palace would naturally be a matter of time. If I can expel the impurities in the soul energy and completely refine my mental energy, then opening the Purple Palace won't be a big problem. Xiaoping was overjoyed. He couldn't help but clench his fists. He was extremely excited. He understood the direction he had to advance in, and he knew how to continue to become stronger. Fortunately, after fighting with Han Ge, the patriarch of the Drought Demon tribe, he understood the key to advancing to the King realm. It saved him a lot of time, and he wouldn't take the wrong path. You dare to be distracted while fighting with me? Seeing Xiaoping's distracted expression, Han Ge was furious. He felt that he was being completely underestimated. He was a King realm expert. Any Master realm expert had to be careful when facing him. If he was distracted for even a moment, he would be killed by a King realm expert. But this guy was obviously in such an intense battle, yet he was still distracted and thinking about other things. How much did this bastard human look down on me? Die! Han Ge was so angry that he almost died. Because of his anger, the Drought Demon fire on his body became even more terrifying. The black flames burned in midair, turning into a sea of fire. At the same time, the black poisonous gas spread out for several kilometers. The weeds and trees on the ground all withered and died instantly, losing all signs of life. Seeing this, the guards of the 5 major races did not dare to stay here any longer. They all retreated over 10 kilometers to avoid dying to the furious attacks of the monarchs. Their deaths would have been too unjust. Bang! Another fist smashed over, carrying with it black flames. Sizzling sounds rang out as they condensed into substance. It was as if a black tiger was roaring, opening its bloody mouth to swallow Xiaoping in a single gulp. Good timing. Xiaoping stood where he was, and his eyes revealed a frightening light. Strands of flames came out from the depths of his eyes, forming a whirlpool that looked like 2 suns, spinning continuously. This time he didn't defend. Instead he counterattacked. He punched out, shaking and exploding. Saint-level unique skill, Sun God Fist. Immediately, strands of golden flames came out from the 108,000 pores on his body. It was as if the god of the sun had descended, bringing with it endless golden light. It was extremely hot. This kind of flame seemed to be able to melt everything. What kind of fist technique is this? Han Ge was shocked. He felt that this fist contained a trace of the true meaning of martial arts, as if it had reached the essence of the way. This was a fist technique that could control all the flames in the world. When this fist was punched out, a wave of heat rolled out. The black poisonous gas in the surroundings dissipated under this kind of yang qi, as if it had been completely melted and no longer existed. Even the spiritual power on his body could resist it and cancel each other out. With a bang, the 2 forces collided with each other. There was an explosive sound in midair. The power of flames collided with the power of flames, causing the air to tremble thousands of times, and the sound spread out for hundreds of kilometers. Immediately, a huge pit appeared on the ground. Soil flew everywhere, and dense cracks appeared in the surroundings. Countless cracks extended for dozens of kilometers. At the same time, a large amount of flames fell to the ground, creating a deep pit. The flames condensed into liquid and turned into lava, burning hot on the ground. At this moment, this area had turned into a lava lake. It was steaming hot, and the lava was constantly rolling. Impossible. Han Ge couldn't believe it. He was just a human at the 8th level of the Supreme Power Realm. How could he use such a fist technique to compete with it, and not be at a disadvantage? This was a bit too exaggerated. Han Ge was a king who had opened up the Purple Mansion and controlled the spiritual power. His combat power should be far above this human, but what was going on now? How could the Gang Qi compete with the spiritual power? How could a supreme power compete with a king? No matter how hard it thought about it, it couldn't understand this matter. This was simply like the Arabian Nights. Again, Xia Ping was overjoyed. He knew that even with the help of the saint-level fist technique, he was already qualified to compete with ordinary cultivators at the Purple Mansion realm, and he could even fight to a draw with them. Even though the Gang Qi in his body was no match for the spiritual power, under the support of the saint-level fist technique, the nature of the power in his body had changed, and his destructive power had increased more than 10 times. This was also enough to offset the huge advantage of the spiritual power. Han Ge, who didn't understand the saint-level martial arts, couldn't imagine how powerful such martial arts were. This was the power that pointed directly to the essence of the Great Way, and it was so tyrannical that it was outrageous. Once mastered, it would be a piece of cake to challenge someone at a higher level. However, it was too difficult to completely master the saint-level martial arts. Even if it was a cultivator who had been promoted to the king realm, it would be extremely difficult to learn without enough talent and guidance from a teacher. Not to mention that even in the universe, the saint-level martial arts were hard to find. Ordinary people were not qualified to come into contact with them at all. Damn it, I don't believe I can't kill you. Han Ge was crazy. He felt that his self-esteem had been greatly insulted. As a king, if he couldn't even kill a little supreme power, he would lose face. He attacked again, extremely violent, and launched a storm-like attack on Xia Ping. Xia Ping used the sun god fist, not in a hurry, like the sun god standing on the earth. At the same time, he ran the North Sea body protection skill, absorbing all the opponent's attack power, devouring and digesting it. Bang! Chapter 1009. Damn it, he's getting stronger? Sensing the sudden change in Xia Ping's aura, which seemed to be continuously increasing, Drought Spear's face turned green. This was clearly a battle between kings. But not only was this brat not being killed, he was actually using him as a training target and becoming even stronger. When it thought that this kid was using it as a whetstone and using it as a stepping stone to advance to a higher realm of martial arts, it was extremely mad. It could not accept this reality at all. Go to hell, go to hell. Drought Spear used all his strength. Countless fist prints appeared in the air, and the power of the fire of drought increased to an unprecedented level. Volcanoes kept erupting on the ground. A large amount of lava shot out and bombarded Xia Ping's body, trying to burn this damned human alive. Originally, for the fire of drought demons, this kind of fire was almost invincible. Not many enemies could be arrogant in front of the fire of drought demon. However, this human was different. He did not seem to be afraid of the fire at all. Instead, he bathed in the fire, as if he felt extremely comfortable. Even the surrounding fire of drought demon was being led by him, and was constantly being devoured. Yes, it was devouring. At this moment, Xia Ping used the sun god fist. With his body as the center, a huge vortex formed, producing a terrifying suction force. The 108,000 pores on his body were like a rock, breathing together. The drought demon fire that was originally scattered around him turned into wisps of black smoke. All of it surged into his body and devoured the flames like a whale swallowing its prey. This human is crazy. Drought Spear's eyes widened. Ordinary living beings facing the fire of drought demon would be like facing the plague. They would be afraid to avoid it. But this kid was actually taking the initiative to absorb it. Did he think that his life was too long? It should be known that the fire of drought demon not only had the destructive power to evaporate all water and burn countless substances, but it also contained a constantly satisfying poison like the plague. Even a king realm warrior would not be able to withstand such a poison. If they were touched by it, they would die very quickly. However, Xia Ping was not courting death by doing this. He was doing it on purpose. This was because he found that when he used the sun god fist, he actually had the power to devour flames. He could take the enemy's unusual flame as his own and completely integrate it into his own body. This was the reason why the Yang God Fist could be called a holy ranked fist technique. Not only was it a fist technique of extreme yang, it could also devour the essence of the enemy's strange flames during battle. It was like a god of flames, controlling all the flames in the world. When the drought demon flame entered his body, he operated the pure yang immortal incantation to expel the impurities of the flame. At the same time, he absorbed the essence of his body and integrated it into his Dantian's Qi Si. Rumble, bit by bit, the quintessence of the drought demon flame entered his sea of energy through his pores, where it slowly took shape. Eventually, it became a black sphere of flame that rotated slowly, emanating a bizarre and powerful aura. It was as if it contained all of the drought demon flame's power, including the power to burn and poison. Controlling another type of mystical flame? That's great. Xia Ping was excited to the extreme. Not only had his battle with Han Gu allowed him to comprehend a trace of the secrets of advancing into the King realm, it had even allowed his cultivation to improve. Now he could even devour the drought demon flame on his opponent's body to strengthen the power of his own flame. Han Gu was simply a child of wealth, a whetstone to aid his cultivation. It could be said that with the drought demon flame, he had 4 kinds of special flames in his body, which greatly improved his power. Moreover, the drought demon flame was also a well-known mystical flame in the universe, which made many creatures tremble with fear. This was a unique flame of the drought demon clan, which other creatures could not control. Mastering this kind of mystical flame was equivalent to mastering a trump card. Rumble, as he devoured the quintessence of the drought demon flame, a large amount of energy gushed out of Xia Ping's body. His Gang Qi increased sharply, and his meridians surged like a river. Bang! Bang! The acupoints in his body were broken through one after another, and 3 or 4 acupoints were opened at once. His Gang Qi had greatly increased, and he was close to the peak of the supreme power realm at the 8th heaven. It was estimated that it wouldn't take long for him to break into the supreme power realm at the 9th heaven. At that time, he would be qualified to break into the king realm and truly step into the world of the strong. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Han Gu was so angry that he punched again and again, and the sky was full of fire. The drought demon flame was burning fiercely within a radius of more than 10 kilometers, as if this area had turned into a sea of fire. Below this area, the guards of the 5 clans did not dare to approach at all. They could only hide far away. This was because the drought demon flame was too terrifying. Not only could it burn people alive, but it also contained a strong poison. If one stayed in this area for more than 3 seconds, there would be no hope. However, although it was such a terrifying flame, this human was still full of vigor and showed no signs of being poisoned. His Gang Qi was still increasing, which made Han Gu so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Why was this human so terrifying? Was it really the weakest king? Could it be that he could not even defeat a human supreme power? After fighting for 2 hours, Han Ji's confidence was a little shaken. He began to doubt whether he was really the weakest king as Xia Ping had said. After all, in this secret land, only the patriarchs of the 5 clans were kings. There was no one else besides them. There were not many people to compare with. Moreover, after living in such a closed environment for such a long time, one's martial arts level would naturally decline quite a lot, being stuck in a rut and building a cart behind closed doors. Come on! Xia Ping's body continued to surge with great power, and his strength increased endlessly. Now he was no longer afraid of Han Gu. Even without the universal protective suit, he could still fight to a draw with Han Gu. If he could advance to the supreme power 9th realm, his strength would increase greatly, and he would even be able to kill ordinary kings. Therefore, no matter how crazy Han Gu was, he did not take it seriously. Bang! 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 2 figures were fighting in midair, constantly colliding at a supersonic speed. Their bodies were carrying terrible flames, as if 2 huge suns were colliding. Every time they collided, a large amount of condensed flames burst out and fell on the ground, instantly burning an area. as if this place had turned into a flaming mountain. A large amount of thick smoke burst out in all directions, and lava flowed around like a river. The battle between the two sides was earth-shattering. More than a dozen kilometers seemed to have collapsed, and shocking potholes appeared. This seemed to be a battle between two kings. What's going on? With a whoosh at this moment, a terrible momentum came from afar, no less than that of Han Ge. That aura came from afar at an extremely fast speed, like a cannonball, jumping in an instant. Dong! In the next second, an imposing figure appeared in front of Xia Ping and Hang. It was a giant man made of stone. He was 3 meters tall. Chapter 10:10. Whoosh! Sensing Rockstorm's arrival, Xia Ping and Han Ge once again clashed fiercely. Then, they separated and stayed 1 kilometer away from each other, temporarily halting their battle. Both of them stared at the uninvited guest. Is that the leader of the rock giants? Xia Ping's pupils constricted as he stared at the 3-meter-tall giant made of black rocks. For humans, a 3-meter-tall giant was considered a giant. However, for the rock giants that were hundreds of meters tall, he was just a tiny dot. As the leader of the rock giants, he was only 3 meters tall. It was unimaginable. However, he didn't underestimate the leader of the rock giants at all. That was because the other emitted a terrifying aura of a king. His every move was natural. His body made of black rocks was one and solidified. A powerful aura permeated the air. It seemed like nothing could break through this body that was like a diamond. Rockstorm, aren't you in charge of the construction of the ancestor altar? Why are you here? Han Ge didn't expect to meet Rockstorm, who was also a king. I'm curious. Rockstorm smiled. I was curious why you haven't finished off your enemy after so long. That's why I came back to see what happened. I didn't expect you to fight with a master stage master for 2 hours, and still not defeat him. To be honest, your strength has dropped a lot recently. You can't even kill a master stage master. It looked at Han Ge with a smile that was not a smile. Of course, it was most curious about Xia Ping, because it knew how strong Han Ge was. He was definitely a powerful king, and with the power of the drought demon flame, ordinary kings would not be a match for him. Normally, master stage masters couldn't fight against king stage masters. However, this human master stage master wasn't ordinary. Shut up. I don't need you to comment on my strength. Han Ji's face darkened. He stared at Rockstorm. Although he was angry, he didn't lose his mind. He knew how powerful the leader of the rock giants was. The rock giants weren't better when they were bigger. The materials on their bodies were more important. If the materials were stronger, it meant that the rock giants were more powerful. That was what Rockstorm was doing. It had swallowed the energy of the meteorite from outer space. That was a rock that had fallen from outer space. After being tempered by countless energies, only a small piece was left when it fell to the ground. Rockstorm continuously devoured the energy of these meteorites, giving itself a body of rock, which was many times stronger than a body of steel. Even after receiving an attack from a king, it was completely unharmed. It was known as the king with the strongest defense. Even its drought demon flame would find it extremely difficult to injure Yan Bao's body. Among the 5 great kings, the one that it did not want to provoke the most was undoubtedly Yan Bao. Wait, where's my clan's spirit tree? Where is the spirit tree? All of a sudden, Rock Bao also discovered that his race's spiritual tree was nowhere to be seen in the Holy Land. The surroundings had been razed to the ground. The scene was shocking. Its expression changed drastically. Damn it, Han Ge. Did you accidentally destroy the spirit tree during the battle? If you do this, you'll be the eternal sinner of the 5 races. Yan Bao gritted his teeth and glared at Han Ge. He thought that Han Ge had destroyed the spirit tree during the battle. Shut up. Don't think that I'm as stupid as you. Han Ge pointed at Xia Ping. The disappearance of our 5 races' spirit tree must be closely related to this human. Before I came here, the spirit tree had already disappeared without a trace. It pointed at the culprit. What? Yan Bao's relaxed mood instantly disappeared. He stared at Xia Ping. Human, what did you do? Where is our rock giant race's spirit tree? Hand it over immediately. His body was filled with a terrifying killing intent. It was as if the world had turned into a blood-colored world. Xiaoping spread his hands and said, "I don't know anything. Don't wrongly accuse a good person. Maybe your spirit tree withered and disappeared by itself." "Shut up. How could the spirit tree disappear by itself? It's still standing after tens of thousands of years. What do you think it is? It's our race's spirit tree." Yan Bao shouted angrily. Han Ge sneered. "Don't talk nonsense with this human. Capture him and interrogate him. Then we'll know where our spirit tree went." Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, Yan Bao attacked without hesitation. The matter of the spirit tree was too important. It was not about face. It was about the life and death of the rock giant race. Now was not the time to fight due to personal feelings. Even if the two kings joined hands to deal with the Grandmaster at the same time was a bit embarrassing, it was nothing compared to the heavy responsibility of losing the spirit tree. His entire body was like a beam of black light. He was so fast that the naked eye couldn't see him. He arrived in front of Xiaoping in an instant. He threw a punch that weighed hundreds of tons. What? Yan Bao was a little surprised. He saw that Xiaoping didn't dodge at all. He stood where he was and activated his protective technique. He wanted to take his punch head-on. Immediately he sneered. He felt that this human was looking for death and overestimating himself. Even among the kings of the 5 races, his strength was the most terrifying. He had the power to move mountains. Even Han Ge, who was also a king, didn't dare to take his punch head-on. But this guy was so arrogant. Wasn't he looking for death? But he didn't hesitate. He threw a punch. It was like a collapsing mountain and a torrential river. The explosive power was extremely violent. The surrounding air exploded inch by inch like a missile. Dong! In an instant, Xiaoping was hit by the punch. The air shook tens of thousands of times. The terrifying penetrative force hit Xiaoping's body, and the protective gang qi around him was smashed to pieces, shattering like glass. The difference in strength was too big. Even Dark North's protective technique couldn't completely absorb the opponent's attack. Xiaoping's entire body was sent flying for 5 to 6 kilometers in the air. "Stupid Yan Bao! Look at what you've done!" But Han Ge wasn't happy at all. Instead, he scolded anxiously, as if Yan Bao had done something wrong. What? Yan Bao was stunned. He instantly understood why Han Ge was so angry. It was because he saw Xiaoping, who should have been vomiting blood in the air after being punched by him, running away like a thief. That guy rolled in the air and used the impact of his punch to grow a pair of wings on his back. He glided like a big bird and escaped into the distance. In just a few breaths, he was more than 10 kilometers away from them. Chapter 10:11. Why are you running? At this moment, Rock Bao could not understand how this human could be so daring. He actually dared to take a punch from him just to borrow his strength to escape. Rock Storm was extremely strong. If he wasn't careful, he could be killed in one punch and turned into meat paste on the spot. At that time, he wouldn't be running away. He would be seeking his own death. However, Han Ge, who had fought with Xiaoping, knew that even though Rock Storm was the strongest of the 5 kings, no matter how strong he wouldn't be much stronger than them. Moreover, this human's earth qi was extremely strong. In an instant, he had set up dozens of layers of defense. Even if Rock Storm used his full strength, he wouldn't be able to kill him. Therefore, this bastard human was talented and daring. He wasn't afraid of Rock Storm's power at all. Despicable. How dare he run away? Are you still human for doing this? You are a coward. You bragged so much just now, but now you're running away. You're really shameless. If you have the guts, stay and fight with our leader for 300 rounds. The group of guards cursed. They felt that this human was too despicable. The fight hadn't even started, and he was already thinking of running away. He didn't have any martial spirit at all. In the distance, even though they were 10 miles away, Xiaoping could hear the guards cursing. However, he snorted. In terms of despicableness, how could he compare to these kings? It was obvious that a king-level warrior was bullying a master-level warrior. Now, another king-level warrior wanted to fight a master-level warrior with 2 kings. Who was the shameless one? Although he wanted to fight against a king-level warrior to improve his martial skills, it didn't mean that he wanted to be tortured or killed. One king-level warrior was already hard enough to deal with, let alone two. Even though he had absolute confidence in himself, he didn't think that he could win in such a situation. Most importantly, Xiaoping had gained enough from this battle. If he continued to fight, there wouldn't be any more benefits. Of course, he had to escape. Why should he continue to fight with these kings? If this continued, what would he do if another king-level warrior jumped out? Then he wouldn't be able to survive. Therefore, when he saw Rock's storm, he knew that he couldn't fight this battle anymore. Therefore, he planned how to escape. As expected, these aliens were caught off guard. They didn't expect him to escape so quickly and leave the battlefield in an instant. Don't even think about escaping. Do you think you can? Rockbow's face turned green. Originally, he wanted to beat this human half to death. Who knew that he would help this human escape? If this matter were to spread, he would probably be laughed at to death. If this human escaped, they wouldn't even know the whereabouts of their race's spirit tree. Whoosh! It chased after Xiaoping. Traversing through the air was the symbol of a king realm expert. They were already capable of escaping the pull of gravity and directly traversing through space, and their speed was countless times faster than a Grandmaster realm expert. Human, don't even think of running. Hangu also chased after them. Its body was covered in black flames like a fireball as it chased after them. It whistled through the air at over 10 times the speed of sound. The two kings chased after Xiaoping in a frenzy, trying to track him down. However, Xiaoping had long since anticipated their movements. He immediately hid in one of the stone giant's houses and instantly entered the space ring. With a clang, the space ring fell into a corner of the wall, merging with a pile of rubble and sand. Their auras also merged together, and just like that, they silently disappeared from the place. What's going on? Where's that human? Hangu and Rockblast had caught up to Xiaoping, and they were both stunned. They'd practically ignited their bloodlines and reached the maximum speed they could reach in their lifetime, just to catch up to Xiaoping. However, they couldn't find a trace of Xiaoping no matter what, and even this human's aura had vanished. This is where the human's aura vanished. He's definitely hiding nearby. He definitely hasn't escaped our city. Han Ji's expression was gloomy to the extreme. He used his spiritual energy to scan the surroundings in an attempt to find Xiaoping's tracks. However, no matter how hard he searched, he was unable to find any traces of Xiaoping. The problem was that they'd clearly seen this human just a moment ago, yet he'd vanished before their eyes. No matter how fast this kid was, he couldn't be this fast. Now they couldn't even find a trace of him. It was too exaggerated. Relay my orders. Immediately mobilize all the troops and conduct a carpet search. Kill that human without mercy once he's found. At the same time, lock down the entire city. Not even a fly can escape. Rockblast shouted furiously. His voice surged and affected the entire city. It condensed into a material form and entered the ears of the guards from the 5 races, and they were ordered to search the entire city. However, after half a day had passed, it was already noon of the second day. The soldiers from the 5 races who'd gone outside hurried back and joined the search team. They searched every corner, and the intensity of the search increased. However, even so, they still couldn't find a trace of Xiaoping. It was as if he'd disappeared from this world. After hearing this news, Hangu and Rockblast's expressions were extremely gloomy. They were as black as ink, like dark clouds that covered the sky. None of the guards dared to approach the 2 kings who were in a bad mood, afraid that they'd be implicated. That damned human! Did he really escape our city? What kind of tricks did he use? Hangu gritted his teeth. A terrifying rage was brewing in his heart. It could be said that he'd never been so angry in his entire life. We've already conducted such a strict search. I'm afraid that the human has really escaped our city, Rockblast said helplessly. Even if we continue to search, it'll be useless. Are we just going to let that human go? He made the spirit trees of our 5 races disappear. He must be the one who did this. Hangu was very unwilling to admit defeat. A cold light flashed in Rockblast's eyes. It doesn't matter. Only immature spirit fruits of the 5 elements grow on the spirit trees. These spirit fruits don't have enough energy. Even if that human obtains them, he won't advance to the king realm. He must still be in this mystic realm. As long as he doesn't advance to the king realm, he won't be able to leave this prison. We'll meet sooner or later. His tone was murderous. This incident had given him a slap in the face and made him furious. Rockblast continued. Our most important task now is to build the ancestral altar and contact our brothers in the depths of the universe. As long as we can contact them, we'll be able to leave this prison. We can even borrow the strength of our brothers to invade the world where humans and demons coexist. We'll kill all our enemies and cause chaos. This is the most important thing for our 5 races. Hanga nodded. Once the ancestral altar was completed, the humans and demons would definitely be finished. They wouldn't be able to resist the power of the 5 races in the universe. Chapter 10:12. At this moment in the slime's encampment, there was a huge lake with clear water. Although it was a lake, it was actually almost the same as the sea, with a depth of thousands of meters. At the bottom of the lake, there were underwater mountains, and inside the mountains there were many caves. The slimes lived in these caves, and the surrounding mountains seemed to be emitting a transparent energy, isolating the lake water, and forming a huge living place. Many slimes were going in and out of this place, carrying out all kinds of activities. At this time, in a cave deep in the mountains, a ring was lying quietly on the ground. Is this the place where the slimes live? It's really interesting. Xiaoping used his mental power to perceive the surroundings and perceived the place where the slimes lived. In order to avoid the search of the 5 major races, he deliberately came to this place and did not quietly stay in a corner. After all, the 5 major races were searching too crazily, searching everywhere. It was simply digging 3 feet into the ground. Even if the space ring was small, there was still a possibility of being discovered. If the guards of the 5 major races found this ring, they would think that it was a rare treasure and pick it up. At that time, he would probably be like a turtle in a jar. Therefore, Xiaoping thought about it and felt that the safest place in this city was the encampment of the slimes. In any case, it was a huge lake, an underwater world. Except for the slimes, the creatures of the other 4 major races could not survive, and they would not come here for no reason. Therefore, Xiaoping also used the invisibility bead to quickly conceal his figure and quietly hid in the encampment of the slimes. He was completely silent, and no slimes could find his trace. It was estimated that the soldiers of the 5 major races could not imagine that humans would hide in the underwater world, so they had been searching on land, but they did not know that it was useless. Xiaoping, there seems to be a treasure in this place. Suddenly, Corinne's voice transmitted over. There is a treasure? Xiaoping's heart moved. He knew that Corinne had a detection instrument on him, which could explore the area within a radius of 10,000 miles and learn the strength distribution of various creatures, as well as the existence of various treasures. Therefore, Corinne said that there was a treasure here. There must be a treasure. Where is it? Thinking of this, he immediately asked. It's at the deepest part of this cave. Corinne pointed to the northeast direction. In the middle of the mountain at the bottom of the lake, a cave entrance was connected to another cave entrance, continuously going deeper, like a complex maze. However, under Corinne's exploration instrument, it was nothing, and it was clearly detected in an instant. Whoosh! Xiaoping came out of the space ring and activated the invisibility pearl to hide his figure. He immediately followed Corinne's instructions and quickly went deep into the cave. Along the way, many slime soldiers appeared, but they couldn't find Xiaoping. They didn't know what was going on, nor did they know that humans had invaded this place. More than 10 minutes later, Xiaoping walked for who knew how many kilometers, and finally entered the deepest part of the cave. It was a huge space. By the time Xiaoping arrived, there were no more slimes around. It was as if this was a forbidden area that forbade any slimes from approaching. Is this an altar? Xiaoping's pupils contracted. he discovered that this huge space was a mysterious altar. The altar was engraved with numerous mysterious lines, and it seemed that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was slowly pouring into this altar. And on this huge altar there was a green egg. The eggshell was densely covered with mysterious golden lines, exuding a mysterious and noble aura. Apart from this, there was nothing on the altar. An egg! Xiaoping blinked his eyes. He didn't expect that there would only be one egg on this huge altar. Could it be that this group of slimes were worshipping this mysterious green egg? What kind of egg is this? It is so precious. No way, this is the egg of a golden slime? Seeing this egg, Corinne couldn't help but cry out, unable to conceal the shock in his heart. Golden slime? What is this? Xiaoping looked at Corinne. The so-called golden slime is the royal family of the slime's race, and has a special bloodline, Corinne said in a deep voice. If the attribute of an ordinary slime is water, but golden slime is different, its attribute is nothing. It even has a kind of heaven-defying ability, and that is devour. Xiaoping didn't speak. He wanted to continue listening to Corinne. Corinne also didn't keep him guessing and continued. The reason why the slime's race can become an outstanding and famous race in the universe is because of the royal golden slime. They have the power of devour, and can strengthen their strength by devouring all things in the world. Moreover, they can also refine the power of these substances into their own bodies. In other words, if they have enough resources, they can become infinitely stronger. This is a heaven-defying race. Corinne's tone was very excited. So powerful. Xiaoping touched his chin. He was very curious about this egg. Of course it's powerful. After all, even in the slime's race, golden slime is an extremely rare existence. It is not born through the union of golden slime, but through a mutation, Corinne said. In other words, even the slime's race doesn't know when a golden slime will be born, and can only rely on luck. Sometimes, a golden slime may not appear even in 10,000 years. Xiaoping nodded his head. No wonder this group of slimes worshipped this golden slime egg, treating it as a god. If it was a member of the royal family, then it wouldn't be surprising. Corinne clenched his fists and said, but this is not what this old man is excited about. Rather, golden slime is an outstanding and famous pet in the human world. If one can obtain one and completely tame it, then it would simply be heaven-defying. It is said that there was an ancient sage who, when he was young, had extremely good luck and found a golden slime. Both of them grew up together and fought in the starry sky. Relying on the power of this sage-rank slime, that sage was almost invincible. He could kill all the sages of the same rank and ruled over thousands of starfields. At that time, Master searched for who knows how long and crossed countless starfields, but he couldn't find a golden slime. I didn't expect that he would actually find one in this countryside. He is simply too lucky. Chapter 10:13. But this is just an egg. It hasn't hatched yet. Xiaoping touched his chin and pointed at the green egg on the altar. He could feel that this egg indeed has the rhythm of life, but it was still in a deep sleep and didn't look like it was hatching at all. It's good that it hasn't hatched. If it really hatched, I'm afraid it wouldn't be so easy to subdue. Corinne chuckled and stroked his grizzled beard. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. But how should it hatch? This egg seems to have stayed in this place for a long time. It seems like it hasn't hatched yet. He instinctively sensed that this egg seemed to have stayed on this altar for a long time. This is the egg of a golden slime. It's not that simple to hatch it. Corinne said, it needs a unique ritual to be awakened, otherwise, it will always be in a deep sleep, and not being able to hatch for tens of thousands of years is very normal. If it was in the original universe, this golden slime egg would definitely hatch. But this group of slimes' inheritance has been cut off, so I don't know how to awaken this egg. Fortunately, when Old Master was looking for golden slime, he also obtained this special awakening ritual. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to hatch this egg. Corinne faintly smiled. What is the method? Xiaoping immediately asked. Therefore, Corinne taught Xiaoping the awakening ritual, which required him to use his blood to engrave a special array on this egg. This array was called Soul Contract Array. Once this array was signed, Xiaoping's soul would be bound to the golden slime, so that the golden slime would no longer betray him and become a companion pet. Boom! As soon as his voice fell, Xiaoping didn't hesitate and immediately took action. He bit his finger, blood flowed out, and immediately drew the soul contract array on this green mysterious egg. Immediately, a bright red mysterious line appeared on the green eggshell, and it didn't take long for the soul contract array to be drawn. Corinne's pupils contracted. He noticed a trace of abnormality because when Xiaoping's blood dripped down, it was not ordinary human blood, it was like lava, containing a terrible flame as well as a huge amount of energy. The blood dripped on the green eggshell and was greedily absorbed by the egg, instantly penetrating into its deepest part, as if it had activated the egg's vitality. Crash! When the blood seeped into the depths of the egg, the entire egg emitted bursts of crimson light. It was as if it was surrounded by a ball of flames, and the faint cry of an immortal bird could be heard. The temperature of the entire cave was rising rapidly. The altar seemed to be unable to withstand the heat of the flames, and it was showing signs of being melted into magma. What the hell is this? Corinne was dumbfounded. Even though he knew about this soul contract array, and had seen Old Master use it countless times, he had never seen this kind of situation. It was obvious that this soul contract array had undergone an inconceivable change under Xiaoping's usage. Could it be that there's something wrong with this kid's blood? Corinne unwaveringly stared at Xiaoping's dripping blood. He quickly discovered that this blood contained the aura of nobility, ancientness, chaos, darkness, hell, nothingness, and so on, just like an ancient existence. It was a bloodline that was many generations older than his old master. It was as if it was the master of this universe. Corinne vaguely seemed to have produced a trace of hallucination. A divine bird comparable to the sun had appeared in front of his eyes. Just a single feather had fallen down, and it seemed as if it had ignited a starfield and burned the universe. No way, is this still a human being? Is he the descendant of some ancient god? Corinne was dumbfounded. When he had examined Xiaoping's body before, he had not discovered this kind of thing. Obviously, it was not that there was a problem with the base's detection equipment, but that this kind of bloodline was too noble. Even the most advanced detection equipment was unable to detect anything. This was beyond the detection range of the equipment. Pa. At this time, when the soul contract array was drawn and a large amount of blood seeped into the egg suddenly cracked open. Like glass breaking, crackling sounds rang out, and countless cracks appeared. And from these cracks, a brilliant golden light blossomed, just like a golden sun. People's eyes were almost unable to open under this kind of light. However, for Xiaoping, who had the golden crow's eyes of hell, this was nothing. He stared at the egg and saw pieces of eggshells falling on the altar, making popping sounds. Not long after, all the eggshells fell down, the light disappeared, and a plump creature appeared from inside the green egg. It had a pair of watery golden eyes, and its whole body was transparent, appearing to be in a gelatinous state. It had a pair of small hands and feet, and it looked like a cute creature, very elastic. Indistinctly, golden lines emerged from its transparent body, as if golden flames were emerging from it. Xiaoping instinctively sensed that his soul and this slime had an inexplicable connection. He seemed to be able to perceive its emotions at any time, as if the two of them were one. Slime! The golden slime cried out in joy. As if it had sensed Xiaoping's existence, it suddenly jumped in front of Xiaoping and rubbed against him. Its movements were very intimate, and it was also subconsciously picked up by Xiaoping. Instantly, Xiaoping felt that this slime's body was very elastic, and it felt very good to pinch. Right, I have to give you a name. I'll call you Xiaojin from now on. Xiaoping rolled his eyes and saw its pair of golden eyes. He immediately gave it a name, so that it would be convenient to exchange in the future. Slime. The golden slime Xiaojin seemed very excited, and it rubbed against Xiaoping. Gurgle, immediately, a rumbling sound came from its stomach. It was obviously very hungry. Hungry? Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Xiao Jin turned around, left Xiaoping's embrace, and returned to the altar. Its small hands grabbed the eggshells on the ground, and it began to chew on them, as if they were very delicious. After eating the eggshells, it seemed that it was still not satisfied, and it stared at the altar again. Then it opened its small mouth again, and actually began to chew on the altar. It ate bite by bite, and in a few breaths' time, it had eaten a small part of the altar. No way. It can even eat this. It's simply a glutton. Xiaoping's eyes widened. He could sense that the material used to make this altar was very unusual. Even if he struck it with all his strength, he could only leave a fist mark on it, and it was impossible to destroy it. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.